Show. This is the Big O 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 Show. This is
So here we are. I wanted to show you the backyard again because we had some trouble last time, but you know, cuttersedgepro.com does some amazing stuff, and they're the boys and the girl. They're having fun. There we go. Right, Maiden? Right, Bono? There we go. They're having fun. I'm having fun. Look at our Sylvester palm. It is beautiful. We got another one in the front yard like that. You can take your home and landscaping to the next level. And the artificial turf, look at that. Look at that, the two dinosaurs going at it, huh? Look at that. Gotta love the dinosaurs. Look at them. They like to bite each other's legs. That's what they do. They play with each other and then they bite each other and they piss each other off. It's fun. One is Bono, which is the one farther away from you, and Maiden. She's the girl right here. She's a badass. That's for sure. So anyway, see the flowers are coming out. Very nice. cuttersedgepro.com, folks. This big tree there will start budding that I'm showing you there soon. It'll have all kinds of flowers. I'll post another video and I'll show it to you. This is a backyard where everybody gets to hang out. Over there in the corner there, I put the barbecue and cook. So that way it's the farthest away from the house, you know. If I light myself on fire or somebody else, we're out in the corner away from everybody. There you go. So you can get some flowers coming out, which is a beautiful thing. And I swear by this artificial turf, it always looks phenomenal. I don't have to cut it. I don't have to water it. And so I'm saving a lot of money, hundreds and thousands in the long run, because I'm not watering or, of course, cutting the grass. And you know, here in South Florida, we cut the grass like every 10 to 14 days.
There's no need to drive around South Florida wasting valuable time looking for a new or certified pre-owned Acura. Go to the #1 volume sales dealership in the Southeast United States. Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. Purchase with pace and space in a dealership tailored to your needs. From home buying to providing that personal touch. Contact the 2020 Satisfaction Award winner Craig Zinn's Acura of Pembroke Pines. 888-776-5123. That's 888-776-5123. Or visit them at 15601 Pines Boulevard in Pembroke Pines.
When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Radio Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated. They offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com.
Oh, I think I know what this is. Houston, we have a package. Hello?
No matter where you are, the Sloman Shield home security system guards your home. With next-gen perimeter protection, 24/7 monitoring, and interior motion sensing. And right now, get a free Sloman Shield security system and doorbell camera, all professionally installed, for free.
Shield your world, the Sloman Shield.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Erik at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
With more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes, Welton Rayom is committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle, slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. That's 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
Statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Alrighty. Good morning, one and all. It is Hump Day. It is Wednesday, November 29th. We are ready to rock. And, of course, we are led by the one and only Sean Stanley. Yes, sir. You feeling good, Sean? Feeling good? That's what I like. We got 2 thumbs up. There you go. You got that cutter's edge feeling in the morning. You know, when you walk out and smell that great landscaping and you're like, yeah, HOA, home looks good. It's a beautiful thing. Yes, sir. Welcome aboard. One and all. Although it wasn't that good for our teams last night. The Heat lose, the Panthers lose, the Canes lose. I wasn't getting good news anywhere, man. You know, that was. I didn't expect the Heat to win, to be quite honest. You know, I'm always hoping for the surprise, and they played their asses off, especially Bam, and we'll get to that. And obviously, Panthers losing in the shootout. Stolars. I mean, you know, to get to that point was pretty good for them against a really good team overall. And then last night, I thought the Canes could have won that game, but man, they got handled. So unfortunately, but it didn't work out. So it is what it is. And then we had Hardknocks. And then we all cried. When I start talking about Hardknocks, you may want to tune out if you haven't watched it, because then I'm going to ruin it. That's one of those things, like sometimes you watch some things and you don't want to talk about them, like a certain TV show or something, because you want to give people actual time to, watch the show and catch up with you, right? And so I don't know if the whole Dolphin Nation watched it yesterday, but when I do start talking about it, I'll give you the heads up so you can tune out and not, get me ruin any kind of, surprise for you or anything last night. But it was emotional, man. It was emotional. I will say that. Got a loaded show for you today. Safid Dean is going to stop by at 10:30. We will have Joe Shad at 11 and Matt Verderam at 11:30. That is the lineup. I got some Dolphin stuff to talk about. Obviously, Heat, Panthers. We got Canes football, Canes basketball. We got NFL stuff I want to talk about. Different stories around the league. Some really twisted and disturbing, to be quite honest with you. A little crypto, obviously. We'll sneak in some crypto talk as us Star Atlas people continue to love life. I got some music and entertainment, as always. Got a bunch of stuff in that area too. So we got a full show for you, like always. All kinds of stuff on the show. We're not just flat out sports. As you know, we it's a full talk show, actually. It's what we do here, where they probably don't do anywhere else. So anyway, by the way, we're not going to get too much into this, but I might as well get it out of the way right now. And I hate hearing this, but I read where Erik and Nikki Spoelstra are getting a divorce, and 7 years, and that is, you never want to hear about that. It's like, one guy tweeted back at me, well, if they're unhappy, it's better than being unhappy and married. And I get that. Obviously, you don't stay with somebody just to stay with somebody. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But those of us that are married and you have kids like they do, you don't want to see that. You know what I mean? It sucks. You don't, obviously you can't be with somebody you don't love anymore. That's, that doesn't make any sense. You know what I'm saying? But you never want to see it. It's just one of those kind of and when there's kids involved, I was a child of a ugly, drown out, drag out divorce. I mean, it stretched for years, and there were restraining orders, and it was just it was ugly, dude. Okay, ugly. And I was in the middle of it all, and so as somebody that lived through a really ugly divorce, you don't want to see, I'm not saying that their divorce is ugly, but you just never want to see a divorce when there are kids involved. You know what I'm saying? Because the main problem in our society is that our kids don't have enough foundations. And there's a ton of broken homes. You know what I mean? I grew up in a broken home. I grew up as a latchkey kid. You know what I mean? I don't even know. Do they use that term anymore? Latchkey kid? What's the modern term now for latchkey kid? Because I bet if you say latchkey kid to a youngster, they're like, huh? Wow, what the hell is that? I was basically raised in the streets. You know what I mean? I had divorced parents. My mom didn't get home till 5 o'clock. That's what latchkey is. You're home alone a lot and stuff like that. She had to work. She had no choice. You know what I mean? It's not her fault. But it's just one of those deals. You know what I mean? And I think the main problem in our society is that we don't have foundations at home. We don't have parents to lead our kids. We don't have active fathers. We don't have active mothers. You know what I mean? And that's where you just, and even if you have money, broken homes are, they affect the kid too. You know what I'm saying? So as a parent, as a husband, as a father, I see divorce and I see kids involved, and it just kind of hits me because I don't want anybody to go through kind of the shit that I had to go through. You know what I mean? It's not fun at all, dude. Not fun. And I'm sure some of you have been in the same situation I've been in. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just rough. Just rough hearing that for Erik and Nikki, and I wish them the best, and I hope that in the end the priority is the kids, because that's what it should be. It should be all about them. So hopefully that's the priority. But just kind of sad news to hear that, man. Let's see, Victor Huertas, thank you, sir. Super chat already early in the morning. Thank you. Big O, did you see the guy who got fired, suspended because of that whole Tyreek Hill celebration where he did a flip with his phone camera? Yes, I did. Gus1388 tweeted it out to me, brought it to my attention this morning, and I saw it, and it's sad. I retweeted it. K Fitz is the kid's name, and he apparently first got suspended and then was told that the suspension probably would be permanent and all that, because Tyreek took the phone from him, and he kind of celebrated a little bit on that moment with Tyreek and the NFL. This is the league that hides John Gruden and his mess. But you're going to fire a kid because of a somersault with Tyreek Hill. Think about what this league is. Okay? Think about the shit that goes on. Aaron Hernandez in his off time is murdering people, and they're worried about firing this kid because Tyreek took the phone from him. He's friends with Tyreek, and he got caught up in the moment, and it was a great moment. Big deal. So what? Why even reprimand him? Just, hey, remind him, hey, you can't be on the field. It's over. Nobody finds out about it, nothing. The NFL fires the kid for this. Okay? They got players that light people on fire. The shit that their players do, you allow Antonio Brown in and out of this league, and he is allegedly assaulting women, almost killing a child, assaulting truck drivers, and you fire a kid for filming Tyreek doing a somersault. But the Dallas Cowboys can bring a player who just killed his teammate back to the sidelines. I mean, I can go on and 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 talk about all the shit, all the sewage that comes out of the NFL, and they go and fire this kid. It's on my timeline if you want to see it on Twitter. And some of you keep asking me, hey, I wish you were back at QAM. Like, wake the hell up, dude. This is why I don't want to be part of the corporate world. I am tired of the fucking corporate world. This is why I tell you guys, support our sponsors, like Cutter's Edge, like Acura Pembroke Pines. You want to keep this show that actually gives you honesty instead of all the crap that goes on and all these people that work for corporations, and they've got to then lie to you, or they've got to twist shit up or dramatize shit or sensationalize shit. That's what we live in. That's what we live in. That's why I laugh every time I hear somebody, oh, I miss you on QAM. I don't miss QAM, dude. I don't miss it a goddamn bit. I don't miss the corporate world. I don't want to answer to people that don't know what I do for a living. I constantly have bosses that have never done what I do. So how are you going to tell me what to do when you can't do what I do? And this is what happens. All the shit that goes on in the NFL. You got Daniel Snyder in the league for years, and you fire this kid. Harmless stuff that went on with Tyreek and the kid. Harmless. And yet you have all this other dirty stuff that goes on in that league. You are hiding head injuries from your players for years. You are keeping that information away from them. And you worry about this child shooting a little video and a flip with Tyreek in the middle of a game. Are you serious? You know what I mean? And this is why the corporate world is dog crap. And especially in media. Oh my God. It is one of the worst. And our media is terrible, dude. And I point out this shit all the time, all the bait and switch crap that they pull out on your ass. And we expose it here all the time because I don't work for them. Sean and I work for you. We actually look out for you, not, all the other crap. So I don't have to answer to them. And this is the kind of garbage that you got to put up with. I mean, let's segue into something else that's the same shit. Okay? Same shit. Last night, they're all these people have to talk up the tournament. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're like Barkley or somebody like that you don't give a crap and you're going to say whatever you want. But, everybody else has to talk up this stupid ass NBA tournament. And, they got to win by this much to advance and this and that and to the knockout round. And I'm like, who gives a shit? So, okay, so we don't win the in-season tournament. That's it. Let's fire Erik Spoelstra. The game has passed Erik Spoelstra by. It's over for Erik Spoelstra. That's it. If you can't win the in-season tournament, what's he any use? And by the way, if the Heat can't win the in-season tournament, what is there left to play for? I mean, who the hell cares about some O'Brien trophy or some shit like that? And you got people talking this shit up in the NBA channel. You got the writers on the beat talking about, what they have to do. And you got Ira. Well, they got to win by 467 points tonight because the Knicks beat this, that. And it's just like, are we serious here? Like, what are we doing? Like, I don't give a shit about your tournament. Your tournament means nothing to me whatsoever. But are NBA teams, is the Heat going to hang an in-season tournament banner since they hang a banner for anything? Is that what we're doing? Are we getting in-season tournament rings? I'm just wondering. How do we handle it? Are the new negotiations and contracts, I want an incentive if we win the in-season tournament? Are guys going to wear their in-season tournament rings all over the place? Hey, sweet thing. See this? I got an in-season tournament ring. Yeah. This is the equivalent of the participation trophy in professional sports. Well, those of you that can't win a real championship, maybe you can win an in-season tournament and have something for your fans. That's fantastic. That's awesome that there's something the Sacramento Kings and Orlando Magic can win. Beautiful. Love it. And you got all these people, and you got to, follow this clown show. Like, I don't give a shit, dude. I just want you to beat the Bucs. That's all I want. You can't beat the Bucs. That's fine. It happens. They're better. You didn't have Jimmy. You don't have Tyler also. It is what it is. But in-season tournament, I mean, they're selling this like it matters, and then I got to read in the morning, well, they've added these 2 games for Miami, and it's like, I don't give a shit, dude. I can't imagine Riley gives a shit about in-season tournament. The guy that only cares about titles, he doesn't care about this. There's no way Riley cares about an in-season tournament. There's no way most of these coaches care about an in-season tournament. Because, okay, so at the end of the year, okay, so are you going to hang a banner? Are you going to have a ring? Are you going to brag about it? This, that, whatever. So you get eliminated in the first round of the playoffs. You get swept. You won 54 games. But they want to fire your ass. So when you walk in, you say, hey, wait a minute. Hold on a second. I won the in-season tournament. Doesn't that stand for something? Are coaches going to do that too? That's this world, bro. And this is why I don't want to be part of the corporate world anymore. I'm at an age also at this point where I don't need it. It's either I do this or I'm out, bro. I'm out. I'm not working in the corporate world. And this is why I'm not working in the corporate world. Because when I was in the corporate world, all I was constantly fighting all the bullshit that they want to feed you. And I won't allow it. I won't allow it. And I don't do it here on this show now. I won't allow them lying to you guys about certain things. And we cut out all that bullshit here all the time. So these are great examples. In-season tournament and this K. Fitz kid getting fired from the NFL for the Tyreek Hill video. A league that is involved in so much dirty shit. You're worried about some kid filming a somersault of a player in the end zone. That's, brother, that's as pathetic as it gets. NFL is just, man, shame on you. Shame on you. Steve Chapman is in the house. Another great episode of Hard Knocks. By the way, the absence by Vic Fangio, it's not conspicuous. You think that old man wants any cameras in front of him? He's probably like, F you, get the hell out of my face. I'm sure eventually you'll see some part of him there, but I'm sure. Are you surprised that Vic Fangio's avoiding the camera? Come on, man. You can't be that surprised, Steve. Frankie Fresco is in the house. Jamie Zoria out in San Jose. I was not particularly fond of Hard Knocks last night. It was so obvious from the get-go what they wanted to do. I had to turn it off. I got to tell you, Jamie, it's one of my favorite Hard Knocks episodes ever. Ever. You should have kept it on, my brother. It showed our team in a fantastic light. It showed the bond that these players have. It showed how much the defensive players care about Jaelan Phillips. It shows Mike McDaniel's personality. Dude, you made a huge mistake. Okay? Yeah, of course the storyline was going to be Jaelan Phillips, my brother, because it's a monster storyline. But the periphery around that storyline and all the other things that went on in there, dude, I disagree with you, my brother. It was an emotional episode. I cried at the end a couple times. Got me emotional, I will admit. And I've told you this before. As you get older, man, I don't know what it is. I can't help it anymore. But I tend to water up more often than not in a lot of movies nowadays. Shit that I didn't do 15, 20, 30, 40 years ago. I was cold and callous more in those things. Now it's not, I'm not the same person anymore. I can tell you that for sure. You know, when you have a child, it changes you. As you get older, you change. It's just, can't explain it, but I'm telling you it happens. At least it's happened to me. But I don't know if Dolphin fans that are listening, did you watch it yesterday, Sean? Did you watch it? Did you not think it was a phenomenal episode yesterday? Huh? Always takes
It definitely showed the Dolphins in the light. I didn't have my camera on. I was talking to you without the camera being on, so apologize.
Okay. It's all good.
It showed the Dolphins in a great light. And it was another one of those, as you talked about before, where you're seeing the Dolphins and it's a team you're going to want to play for. I mean, that's,
told you.
Especially if you're an older player, like, you know, we were talking yesterday when you were talking inside, the ones that want to come for 1 year and try to win a title, you see the bonds that are developed on this team from guys also that haven't been here for a long time. Yeah, some of these guys have been here through their whole, you know, their 3-4 year careers, but also guys that got here getting same bonds with some of the players.
And let me add, you just led me to something. FUD again, right? FUD about all this stuff, the tournament, this kid, everything that goes on in the NFL. Here we go. Salary cap FUD. You just added something that I forgot to mention yesterday. So they can draft, they can find undrafted free agents, they can find free agents, they can make great trades. They know how to make great contracts. They know how to restructure everything. They don't have cap issues next year. I'm the one that's telling you they'll have cap issues in 3 years. Okay? Not next year and not the year after. The year after that is when it really gets ugly. But, you know, the media needs to sell it to you now. And then you added the one more thing. I forgot about that. That as this team grows and becomes one of the monsters in the midway, okay, you're going to have veteran players are going to want to come here to end their careers and kind of chase a title. So that's also, and they're going to take discounts, and we have no state tax. So that's also going to help out. And that's another way that I try to, I don't allow the FUD, the bullshit to get to you guys. That's if you listen to this show. If you're listening to everything else, then you're going to think that they're trading for Dalvin Cook. You go ahead. Go ahead and knock yourselves out if you want. You know? And that's what happens. But I don't play that game here. I would love a ton of views. I would love a ton of clicks, but I'm not going to bullshit my way to it. I'm not. Just not. That's not the way I want to do things. You know? And this is why this whole structure where what we're doing now, for me, my God, I've never been happier. I've never been happier. You know? So it's a beautiful thing. And we try to keep it as 100 as we possibly can for you guys. But I can tell you they don't do that in the regular media. And that's sports, news, politics, whatever. They're looking for some angle to get something out of you. Let's see. Ray Sosa in the house. I'm not going to lie. It hurt seeing Dame hit that late three. If only it could have forced his way to Miami. And Dame's a wuss. Steven Gonzalez, Jonathan Cagle, Frankie Fresco says tough loss for the basketball team last night. Yeah, the Canes. Yeah, it was tough. When Achane returns or Achan returns, we'll all jump on board the Achan train. Giovanni, sad news with Spo and Nikki, especially with 3 kids involved. Kind of seen it coming, though. P.S. Cats were robbed over and over last night. Heat, too. Richardson foul on Lillard. Lame. Yeah, that was lame. That was lame. And I had the Panthers sound down. So I kind of was like glancing. So I'd lie to you to tell you I knew exactly what was going on inside the Panther game last night. Mark Smith says, go to the like button's house and replace the face soap bar with a carved potato. Okay. John Padilla's in. Gordon Shumway. Drago. One-Eyed Jack says, good morning. What a show last night. I feel terrible for Phillips and wishing him a speedy recovery. Yeah, man. It was emotional, man. I'm telling you, you need to go watch that. Hardknocks was great last night. Jaelan Phillips' story was powerful last night. Felt like I got gut punched at the end of that show. Yeah, we all did, bro. We all did. Manuel Goico. That's a new one in there. Mark NorCal is in. Wake and bake. I enjoyed the halftime locker room scene. Yes, that was good. That was good. I farted, smells like old beans. True FinFan always tells us what he eats when he farts. It's good play-by-play and insight. J-Town, Walter is in Hialeah. Lisa Rose. Mark Smith says Finns are on a mini bye. McCoaching needs some credit getting that win with all the distractions. First Black Friday game on the road in the division. Hardknocks injuries. Yeah, he deserves credit because they're 8-3, and now you got to finish it out, man. Now you got to finish it out. Last night, Hardknocks hit me in the feels. Feel so terrible for Phillips. At least it exemplified what a great teammate and a lot of Dolphins are. Also, the Jets' turf is as shitty as their franchise. Actually, it's the Giants' turf, right? Isn't it? They just allow the Jets to rent the place. Brian Landis, Tim Eason. NorCal says, my mom took a job career when I was 12, and I got into stuff because both my folks were at work. When me and my bro got home from school, those were good times. Yeah, no, it's so you were a latchkey kid like I was. No. I don't know if kids nowadays, hate to put it this way, I don't know if they can handle the way we grew up on an average. Like it was, it happened a lot back in our day, and a lot of us came out normal. Nowadays, I'm afraid that a lot of kids can't handle it. You know what I'm saying? It's, in other words, it's a softer society. Joseph says, Big O, I'm here working hard while listening to you. I like it, Joseph. Thank you, my brother. Alexis Palenzuela says the Cats were robbed. Shelby Jordan, no fun league. Giovanni, working for myself, 18 years now, would never take on a boss again. Well, except my wife. Well, yeah. We all have that boss. I have that boss. Miami Dolphins content says, totally agree, Big O. We appreciate you. Well, thank you, Miami Dolphins. I appreciate you guys out there for supporting the hell out of us. Really, I do. JS 1115, not to mention the NFL used the clip on social media. Yeah, they milked the clip and then fired the kid. That's a great point too, bro. I agree with you about the in-season tournament, says Chapman. But for the guys on the end of the bench, $500K per means a lot to them. Yeah, but big picture, it means nothing. You don't do for few what's not for many. You can't do it that way because you're hurting the sport, the fans, and the game overall because it's ridiculous. So we're making happy player number 12 and 15 on the bench. That's not important. That doesn't make the league better. You know what I mean? I'll spin it in another way that will bother some of you. You got the tight ass conservatives, right? They're forcing abortion laws on people. The few are trying to control the law. But if you give it to the people, the power of the people, and you put it to vote, what has happened? They vote for it to be legal, right? Because you're forcing something from the few, not the many. It's about the power of the people, not the power of the few. And so you can't do something that makes only a few people happy. You have to do what makes the majority happy. And you got to give them, what they need. And we don't need this tournament. And for player 12 or 15, that doesn't really help you win a title anyways. I'm sorry, bro. That $500K doesn't make me feel any better. And bullshitting me and lying to me about a tournament that you're forcing down my throat that means nothing, absolutely nothing. It's insulting to my intelligence, is what it is. And it's also embarrassing what you make the media have to do to actually talk about an in-season tournament that means nothing whatsoever. Okay? We can steal from soccer this billboard here, that while we're talking, here you go. That's a good one to steal from, but basketball shouldn't be stealing from soccer in-season tournaments. Doesn't work for them. Okay? What works for soccer doesn't work for the NBA. All right, let's do it. Let's switch gears. Let's talk a little. And by the way, if you did not see Hardknocks, okay, I haven't gone into it completely yet, but I'm sure we will with Safid. I'm sure we will with Joe Shad. So you may want to hold off. You may want to listen to it later or whatever, because we are going to ruin some stuff for you. Safid Dean and our BaptistHealth.net/ortho Miami Dolphins report is next.
Let's get the latest from the Aqua and Orange with our Baptist Health of South Florida Miami Dolphins report with USA Today insider Safid Dean. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net. Here's Safid Dean.
All right. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling? Feeling good?
I'm good, man. So you're telling me I have to not give spoiler to the
No. I warned them that we're going to spoil shit, is what I'm saying. Okay? And my prediction is hanging right on so far. Because we had, of course, everybody leans to the fucking negative always. Oh, Hard Knocks. Oh, it was a disaster last time. This, that. And I keep trying to tell everybody here, because I've been covering this for a long effing time. This isn't the same front office. This isn't the same coaching staff. This isn't the same shitty quarterbacking you've had since Marino left. This isn't the same team that you've had in the past, the same culture you've had in the past. I get it. We're all tortured from the past, but you got to leave that shit behind. This is a really good franchise now. This is one of the best front offices in the NFL. And this Hard Knocks, what it's going to do, instead of having Ireland and Philbin and all the bullshit you had going on then, you don't have any of that. You have harmony. And last night, what you saw was, I think players around the league are going to say, that's the kind of franchise I want to be a part of. Those are the kind of dudes I want to play with, because that scene where they're around, supporting Jaelan, and then after talking about him in that room, about the support that they got to give him and everything else, and the way McDaniel handles everything, I just think that this is going to be an incredible recruiting tool for the Miami Dolphins. And last night, it was on center stage.
Yeah, definitely. Look, Jaelan Phillips injury, you knew it was going to be the center of the show this week. And it was just kind of just easy content for them. It was a layup for HBO to knock it out of the park. Yeah. And really, it was like a layup, like D Wade throwing it up to LeBron in Milwaukee, because HBO really killed it. They really delivered, just like that. Yeah. You couldn't help but feel for Jaelan Phillips, man. I tore my Achilles before. I knew the exact same feeling Jaelan Phillips went through when he said, like, somebody felt like somebody kicked him or hit him from behind or shot him. When I tore my Achilles, it felt like somebody was like in a sniper in a building, and I just got taken down right there, man. It's a pop. You know it. You know it when it happens. And then when he's telling his teammates that it got popped, and then they're like, no, man, no. And he knows. You know what I mean? Yeah. I couldn't help but feel for the kid, and the tears that came down on his face immediately on the field, as soon as it happened. And it really, really sucks, man, because Jaelan Phillips, since week 5, when he came back from the groin injury, Dolphins have had the best defense in the NFL, and he's been the catalyst. He's been the reason. That's in my opinion. But when you look at the film and you look at all of that, Bradley Chubb has stepped up. Christian Wilkins has stepped up. Zach Sealer stepped up. Maybe Andrew Van Ginkel's taken a little step back or something like that. But Not even much at all. Like all
You're
those
not
guys have eaten because of Jaelan
you're not
Phillips.
playing him like you were when Phillips was out. So
Yes.
now you'll go back to playing him like when Phillips was out, and I think now Van Ginkel will star a little bit more, and maybe Good will be the guy that will be playing linebacker now, because I think Good is the guy that's kind of been he's the next guy in line that's kind of being groomed to help out there.
The thing with Phillips is he commands two people. And Van Ginkel isn't at that stage yet. Other teams don't know about Van Ginkel that well. They know he can make a splash play, but I don't think he's commanding two people on the offensive line, allowing some other guys to free up. But back to Hard Knocks, and what I believe is just you mentioned it's a recruiting tool, and let's not get it twisted. As much as everybody's going to say that they're not watching this on the team, they're going to end up watching it at some point, right? It's so easy to have DVR downloaded. I can watch a half an hour now, a half an hour later. Everybody's going to pretend like they didn't watch it, but they're all watching it. Everybody wants to see a documentary about themselves. Okay. Trust me. Cam Wolf was looking at the documentary last night. He's like, oh, there I am. You know what I'm saying? Like all of us are looking for it when we're there attending the media and stuff to see if we get a little inch of getting into it. I was in the Messi doc, by the way, first episode. But anyways, when you look at the everybody's going to watch it. And I think NFL players also watch it around the league too. It's why the show is really popular, because the players like it when they get involved with it. It helps their brands. You can't tell me all these guys don't care about their personal brands. Tyreek Hill and Jalen Ramsey got a huge bump in the first two episodes, right? And all Tyreek has been about is his brand and football, which is great to see as well. And Jalen Ramsey as well too, with all the promo videos he's been doing since before and after the injury. So this is all just more adding to the branding for the players and things like that. As far as a recruiting tool, okay, yeah, sure, maybe the guys see the Dolphins have a good group and they'll visit and get to know the guys and know it's a different feeling there too. But there's another recruiting thing there, Big O. It's Steve Ross.
They have the money and they have the no state tax. Big deal, bro.
That's recruiting.
Money, no state tax has always been their advantage, but that was always their hook for anything. They can get people just money and no state tax.
Now they have everything else figured out.
But you knew you were going to like when Ndamukong Suh signed here, you weren't here, okay? And we had people, this is going to change the defense, and I was like, no, it's not. It's not changing anything. He just came here to collect the check. In his open press conference, they asked him why he signed with Miami. It's because they're forward thinking, he said, some shit like that. And it's like he didn't say, I came here to win because they got a winning, pro. That's the difference. Where you're not just coming for the check and the no state tax. Now you're coming to win and no state tax and the check, because Stephen Ross will always cut the check. That's not the problem here. That's never been the problem here. But the lack of dysfunction, what Chris Greer said when he took over, that the dysfunction would be out the window. Well, finally, once you got the meddling owners out of the way and Flo, now you have no more dysfunction and everything's going on. So to me, that's what makes it sexy now, because I've watched this for years where all they had was money and no state tax to attract people.
It was the only attraction.
Right. It's the only attraction. Now the team is the attraction, and then the bonus is the no state tax and the money now. That's the way I look at it.
I look at it the same way too. Look, the Dolphins had a lot of hands in the cookie jar. When I first started, it was Tannenbaum, Adam Gase, and Chris Greer. 3 guys, and 2 of them didn't know what the hell they're doing. So Greer takes over, and he's the one-man show by himself, and then him and Flores are butting heads during their time together. So now him and Mike McDaniel are kind of humming on the same tune right now. Thank goodness they did the Tyreek Hill trade, because that's a trade that the Dolphins didn't do in all the years I've been here, and for a long time too, to go and try to go get the best player out of position in the league and to change your trajectory of your franchise. It was a huge move. I think that's probably Chris Greer's best move outside of moving up to 5.
You didn't think Mike Wallace was that move?
Or Brandon Marshall, anybody else of those guys? Come on. No, you went and got a bona fide Hall of Famer already, who already won a Super Bowl, who already kind of has his one foot in the Hall of Fame. That was the biggest move for me. For me, that one and taking the Texans trade and then the 49ers trade, Tyreek is still above for me because he's the player that's actually on your team that's doing work for you right now. And he's the reason why you're in this playoff mix because he's one of the best players in the NFL. So Chris Greer's done an incredible job. Mike McDaniel's done a great job too.
You're in this mix. You're in this mix because Chris Greer finally is in power, and you're letting him do what he wants because he knows what the hell he's doing. That's why he brings Marvin Allen and Reggie McKenzie on because he has no ego, and he brings two freaking superstars on with him. Reggie McKenzie has zero business being here. He should be running.
He should be a GM of his own team. Yeah.
He should be. He should have never left the Raiders. They should have never fired him. They were doing great with him. I'm glad they did. They're stupid. Like, you know, this moron David Tepper I watched yesterday. Did you watch that press conference?
I didn't, but I saw the highlight of that one.
Like, no, but you got to watch the whole press conference. Like, that guy, oh my God, dude. Wow. I feel horrible for Panthers fans.
Didn't he say they were going to trade for Stroud, but they could have picked Stroud with the number 1 pick?
Yeah, no, he's the one that this whole thing. I'm convinced that Frank wanted CJ and the owner wanted, Young. And so that's what happened here. That's why he didn't completely go all. Well, I believe it was almost all unanimous. Yeah, no, that's right. The guy you fired wasn't part of your unanimous. Look, the guy you fired is the guy that knows about quarterbacks, not you, moron. And that's the problem that we had. Bruce Beal. Hey, I can make moves here. I'll go get Tom Brady. I mean, just about that. You could have ended up with Watson. You could have ended up with Brady. You could have ended up. What was the other mess Rodgers? All of these things have become disasters. And,
Yeah, definitely. This is where you learn in sports where the owner who is too hands-on could be bad at times, right? Like you look at Steve Ballmer with the Clippers, he's just bringing energy. Bring your energy, bring your pocketbook. Don't bring anything else, right? You look at Steve Ross, and Steve Ross has given Tom Garfinkel the keys to the Ferrari pretty much, and they've gone out and brought an F1 race to the Dolphins. The Dolphins have a side hustle that's crazy compared to the regular hustle, all right? And then on top of that, they've given Chris Greer the keys to the
owner medals. He F's up, whether it's the Brady thing, whether it's going to go get Harbaugh in the middle of the night when you already have a coach.
That's fine.
Whether
it's
that's fine. In the middle of a hockey game in Detroit, just the owner.
I'm all for trying to go get Brady when he's available. I'm all for setting up the yacht meeting. I'm all for all that behind the scenes stuff that we shouldn't know about. The coaxing. That's what you're supposed to do as an owner. All right.
That would have been a disaster. Got him for 1 year, dude. That would have been a disaster.
Yeah, in 1 year he could have won the Super Bowl like he did in Tampa. You never know. He won the Super Bowl in 1 year in Tampa. You're right. But still, you and I have talked about this before. If the owner of your team is not going after the greatest quarterback of all time, no matter what prime he's in or whatever, did you not want that, or do you want that?
No, I wanted Tua. I didn't want to change anything. I was good with Tua.
That's fine. I wanted Tua too because they had something really good that they had to build on.
Brother, I came out golden on this. I never wavered like anything on this at all. I said I was fine with Tua. Once you took the chance, I said, okay, the guy can play. His injury history is one thing you got to worry about, but he can play. So I had no worries about that. And plus, I have, unlike most people from the get-go, know the three guys that are on the top. I've been in this business for 33 years. I know a lot of people in the NFL, and a lot of people have given me plenty of information on these three guys. Marvin Allen should be a GM, and Reggie McKenzie should be a GM. We have three GMs running the team, and that's why when they came together, I said this will prove to be one of the best front offices in the NFL. But the problem is they're black. And, and unfortunately, when you're black, you don't get the same opportunities and the same chances. And this is why
there's a lot of jobs opening up this offseason, Big O. There's a very good chance. There's a very good chance both those guys could get some interviews for sure. And there's a good chance both those guys are going to be like, you know what? I don't want the setup that you guys have over here. I'll have the keys to everything, but I might be out of a job in 4 years. I might end up just staying in Miami. I like being down there. Chris treats me good. We're winning a little bit. I remember it'll help, right? It'll help the Dolphins when they figure out the rest of their team too.
That's what Darrell Bevel did. He had a shot to leave last year, and he said, "No, I'm going to stay here. I like this situation here. That what you're offering me is not good. No, it's not worthy of me leaving."
Yeah.
And Bevel's the guy that people will look at, but he's smart. He wants to go to, if he's going to do it, he's going to go to the right place. So I don't know how Marvin and Reggie, but Reggie already has gotten screwed, and Marvin's been screwed royally multiple times. Because he did a marvelous job in Atlanta, a marvelous job in Kansas City, and he doesn't get rewarded. And he's a fantastic personnel guy, and I know that for a fact. And so, to me, you got 3 monsters at the top of this organization.
Yeah.
Just let them do their job. And don't, the problem is Flo thought he was a personnel guy. And that's
called offense too, man. What do you want? He did it all. That's why the Dolphins had a really bad situation. They brought in some really good people. Chris Greer brought in, like you mentioned, those 2 guys, and then Mike McDaniel's the cherry on top of all of this. His demeanor and his leadership has been really instrumental in this Dolphins turnaround, right? I'm sure the schedule is a little bit softer, and they're winning a lot more games, sure, but you see the play on the field, and it's not lacking, right? Defense turned around. They made a right move with Vic Fangio. Offense is one of the best in the league in a year where scoring is down, right? Like we complain about scoring with the Dolphins, like they should be like the University of Miami back in the 80s and 90s, blowing people out by 40 points every game. Like the league average is 20 points per game. And when the Dolphins put up 24, 27, we're like, oh man, that's a bad game. Like it's really unique. We are very spoiled. We are very spoiled here. Like we are with Messi, with the Heat, all this other stuff, the Dolphins are in good shape. They got this game in Washington this week. I'm really interested to see how they play the Commanders here. Sam Howell leads the NFL in yards, but he also leads the NFL in sacks. So that should be fun. This would have been a game Jaelan Phillips would have went to town and had probably 2.5 sacks, right? You missed him here. But we'll see what the defense comes up with. And then the back end too. I mean, no, Sam Howell hasn't played a secondary like this before, ever, I believe. Yeah. It should be, but you also don't know what you're going to get from offense. You don't know if you're going to get sloppy Tua or really good Tua. So that's kind of always up in the air. But this is the time of year where Tua has to find his groove, or maybe you don't want him to have his groove now. You want him to have his groove in a month from now, right? When the playoffs start.
I want him to start getting in the groove, because I talked about this yesterday or the day before, I think it was. The missing ingredient right now, the defense has arrived. It's here now. Jaelan in. All of a sudden now the defense has the balance it needs. It has the secondary to complement the front to get after the quarterback. So now you've got it. So the last thing that's left for the offense is the turnovers. To me, you eliminate the turnovers, and I think you can beat anybody and everybody that's left on your schedule. You'll have the opportunity to beat anybody and everybody on your schedule.
Yeah,
that way. But this is the question I have for you, because I kind of get the feeling from watching Tua talk that he's reaching his own boiling point on, dude, I got to stop doing these stupid things and making these mistakes. I almost got the feeling here in the last couple games here that it's kind of built up to some kind of crescendo for him, that it's really now starting to frustrate him that he is turning it over. So I'm hoping he beats himself up enough to get to the point where he is now playing smart with his body, that he throws the ball away, slides, all of that shit. He doesn't take hits anymore. I love that now. I need him to get to that point. Do you think he's getting to that point? Do you sense the same thing, or am I wrong here?
I don't think you're wrong here. I think you're barking up the right tree. I would venture to say that when Tua has a mistake in a game, he blames himself. And then when Tua has a mistake in his game, Mike McDaniel blames himself. So if that's a disconnect or what's going on there, I'm not sure. But for some reason, some play calls are leading to interceptions, and Mike feels the need to take the blame for Tua because he's putting that play out there for Tua to run. So you're not sure if Tua's, not confident in the throws he's making, or just making mistakes on those certain plays. maybe they keep running it because they think they're going to get it right. Like the fourth down screenplay or whatever with a yard to go. There's some plays that are working and some plays that are not. So look, you got some easy opponents here. I think the Dolphins, if you watch Hard Knocks, you could tell they kind of played with their food a little bit against the Jets. It was a team you could do that against. Washington, maybe the same way, not as much, but still. This is a great time for the Dolphins to get some work in, figure it out, and make sure they're humming on all cylinders, because a bunch of other teams are looking really, really good right now. The Dolphins are kind of hanging around in the mix now, right? But you look at it across the board. Philly's playing really great. San Fran, Dallas, that's all in the NFC alone. The Chiefs may have figured out their offense, but you're still okay with that. Baltimore looks good. Might be okay with Isaiah Likely. Jacksonville squeaked by Houston, and Doug Peterson made some really boneheaded calls in that game. So you're kind of worried about Jacksonville. You could probably beat them. And then the rest of the AFC, huh?
Houston's not an easy team to beat, man.
No, they're not. Houston's a tough out. They got a tough game against the Broncos this week, who all of a sudden are a winning team. Dolphins have a win over a winning team. How many is that this season, Big O? I lost count. Is that one? Hey man, yeah, but you finally got one. They're 6-5 now.
The way I look at it is, Dolphins would have lost a game or two of those kind of games that they're winning all of them now. They're beating all those teams they're supposed to beat. And the way I look at it, why I think things have turned the corner, why I've been talking about it, even in the losses, they have played better against the better teams in those last two losses. So I think they're getting closer and closer to turning that corner and putting together a complete performance against the top echelon type teams. Mm-hmm. I think that's coming from Miami. But what I am proud of is that they aren't slipping up against the bad teams. They are winning those games. And that's something that in the past, we have to say, that would not have been the case. Dude.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they shouldn't have been 500 Flores' last year at all when they started, 0-7, 1-7. They had some very winnable games in that stretch. None of that's happening right now, knock on wood, for the Washington game this week. But I would say, the Dolphins are getting good work against the good teams, right? You lost to San Fran last year. You lost to Buffalo, Eagles, Chiefs. You're facing the great teams, right? There's a lot fewer great teams than there are the regular mediocre teams, right? Whether you're above mediocre or below mediocre, I think you've shown you're a little bit above, right? And you're kind of at the cusp of being a great team. So, Dolphins are taking learning lessons here. And the last 3 games of the season are going to be a really big, barometer for them. If they can try to go get the 1 seed, if they're going to end up playing on the road by some means, who knows? I doubt it. But who's going to be their playoff matchup? Are they going to be stuck with Baltimore again? Things like this. So, and the last game of the season being the Bills, man, that's going to be a rude awakening for Buffalo. I think that's a great game for the Dolphins to have to go right into the playoffs. It's just going to be let it all out,
I hope they kick their ass, dude.
Let it all out.
By the way, one more thing. Can you just flat out ask McDaniel, what is it you just hate running on 3rd and 4th and 1?
I don't understand, man. Sometimes one thing I've learned in covering football my entire career, I covered Jimbo Fisher. That was my first coach I really covered. People are very, very confident in what they call and their playbook because they have to be. They have to sell it to the room that they're in, right? And you have to be able to convince others it works. And when it doesn't work, you look like an idiot. And when it does, you look like a genius. And you're really hoping to bat more than 300 in these situations, but sometimes you're not. And so, maybe Mike outsikes himself. Maybe he does.
There's no doubt he outthinks himself. My question is, how many times I'm watching the Tin Cup of Coaches?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I'm talking
definitely.
about?
If it's not a big splash play, go ahead. What was that?
Did you watch the movie Tin Cup?
No, I didn't. Tell me about it.
Okay, well, in other words, it's somebody doing the same stupid play over and over again and keep failing, and you keep doing it and you keep failing. It's the definition of insanity. And that's what I'd like to ask Mike McDaniel, isn't it insanity that you just continue to pass on 3rd and 4th and 1 when, by the way, aren't you one of the better running teams in the NFL?
Hey, sometimes it's hard to run when people know the run is coming. Maybe Mike psychs himself out for that. We don't know. But the short yardage thing is a really big issue. The short yardage thing is a really big issue. You're right.
Running on short on short distance here on this team is a surprise. It's not the obvious, actually. The game
You're supposed to get a 20-yard play.
They're passing on 3rd and 4th and 1. That's what the game plan says. If you actually
maybe it's just a huge fake out. Like he's just gonna do nothing but pass plays the first half of the year. Then in the playoffs, you're just gonna run all the time on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1.
Okay,
maybe it's a deep fake.
So you're going
conspiracy
Rocky
theory.
You're going Rocky. He's holding out to go southpaw on Apollo towards the end of the fight, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Right.
That's it. Mike's got us all figured out, man. He's got us all figured out.
He's going to go southpaw on us in the playoffs and then just run on 3rd and 4th and 1 all the time.
Yeah, Tua's going to start throwing right-handed, actually, when the playoffs start. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, no. He's also going to start doing the tush push on top of all that. Yeah, exactly.
God.
Yeah,
not a good play for Tua.
Yeah.
I think it's actually I think that would be a good play for Tua because he's got the lower body strength, but not the upper body. Not the upper body.
No.
We don't want his upper body near any hits.
No. I don't want him anywhere there. No. He's not built for that. No. That Hurts squats like 600 pounds.
Yeah, Hurts squats 600 pounds, and they're like 1st and 8 every time they get the ball.
Yeah.
They don't get just one. They get like 3 yards every time.
You heard, I think Tua said it in that interview that Hurts would work out with the linemen. Like, get the hell out of here, bro. You know,
I asked Tua that question.
That's why the tush push works with him, and Mahomes blows out his ankle, and I don't want Tua involved in that because he's built for it. Not everybody is built for that, unless you're a big. Unless you're a Josh Allen, you're a big guy, then
Herbert,
Herbert. You can use big body guys, Roethlisberger, all that for that shit. But I don't want Tua in there. All right, what do you got going on in the USA today, my friend?
Yeah, I'm gonna go check out the Dolphins today. I'm also gonna be at Inter Miami on Saturday. We got the U.S. Women's National Team in town. They have a lot of tickets available, is what I was told. Nothing like a messy crowd, so. If you have a daughter, you want to go catch a game or something, 3:00 Saturday at Inter Miami, definitely encourage you guys to go do that. But yeah, man, just checking out the NFL stuff.
Ticket is like $85 only, right?
Is it really? I didn't check that part out when I said that. That makes a lot of sense now. That makes a lot of sense. Well, excuse me.
Yeah, like $85 is the cheapest ticket.
Oh wow. Well. And I got my podcast coming later today. It's a football podcast recapping the last week. So looking forward to that, guys.
You got it. And follow him on Twitter at Safid_Dean. We'll talk on Friday, my friend. Thank you, sir.
Need a late one Friday, Big O.
I got you covered, bro. Oh,
take it easy, man.
All right, baby. Be good. There you go. The great Safid Dean. And when we talk about Baptist Health, well, they are the official sports medicine provider for the Miami Heat, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, FIU, FAU, Orange Bowl, Miami-Dade County, Miami Open Tennis, Miami Marathon, and half marathons. And folks, the staff at Baptist Health Orthopedic Care is comprised of highly specialized, board-certified, and fellowship-trained orthopedic physicians supported by advanced practice providers and athletic trainers, all of whom play a vital role in the patient's experience. And of course, we've got locations from Monroe County all the way to Palm Beach County. I go all the time to the one in Kendall. My wife, my daughter, we're visiting that place all the time because Baptist Health keeps the Alzigari family in one piece, but we've got them out in Boynton Beach, by the way, Bethesda East and West. I got Joe Shad coming up. We got Boca Regional at 800 Meadows Road. All over the place, down in Marathon Key and Tavernier Key. We've got Baptist Health facilities everywhere. We even got one right there in the training facility for the Dolphins. So that way, every time Omar Kelly faints, they can take him right there to Baptist Health. It's a beautiful thing. Use that QR code right there on the screen and set yourself up. BaptistHealth.net/ortho. Joe Shad is next.
The Baptist Health of South Florida Miami Dolphins Report with insider Safid Dean is brought to you by Baptist Health of South Florida. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net. When you move, you need a reliable company led by passionate folks eager to assist its customers during a transitional process that needs to be smooth. Call Essential Moving Experts at 844-368-5750 for all your local and long-distance moving needs. You can rely on Essential Moving Experts. Mention the Big O Radio Show and get $150 off. Family owned and operated. They offer free 30-day storage, full service moving, fully licensed, bonded, and insured. Moving was never so easy. EssentialMovingExperts.com. The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. It's time to talk Aqua and Orange. Miami Dolphins fans. Here's a man with incredibly high standards. In fact, he isn't impressed with Tyreek Hill's dominance, Jalen Waddle's speed, or even Teron Armstead's swag. It's the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Joe Shad. When you're looking to move your home or business anywhere in the U.S. from coast to coast, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Call 305-602-8369. Let's talk football. Here's Joe Shad.
All right, Joe, the question that all inquiring minds want to know. How many clinics did you go through last night watching Hard Knocks? Did you go through any?
I mean, we're used to watching players get injured, and obviously when you know the guy personally, it makes it a little bit tougher. I think Hard Knocks did a nice job in the way they, built up to what we knew what was coming. It's kind of like watching the Titanic. You know how it ends, but you still watch it. And at the end, you're like, wow, this is still pretty good. So, yeah, tough deal for Jaelan Phillips. Glad to see that he tweeted this morning that he had a successful Achilles surgery, and certainly we hope to see him back early next year.
Well, did you water up? I did. I'm just wondering. Did you? You're admitting.
I'm not a big crier.
Okay. All right. Okay. I thought it was a phenomenal episode for the Dolphins organization. One of the things that I've said that, people were afraid of Hard Knocks this time around. And I said, this is a completely different franchise now. This is the one you want to have on Hard Knocks. They're not dysfunctional. This is what you want to sell. This is going to be great selling material for this team. When somebody else is watching it around the league that might not be happy in their situation, do they look at that situation and say, dude, that's a coach in a place I want to be at? Is this a good selling tool for the Miami Dolphins?
Yeah. I mean, there's always a chance that something will pop up that does not paint the organization in a positive light. But yeah, McDaniel is obviously one of the coaches who many players would like to play for. We know all the other reasons: the weather, the facilities, commitment to spending, taxes. So now the problem for the Dolphins is they're not going to have a lot of salary cap space, especially if they re-sign some of their key players.
That's a whole bunch of bullshit. They'll be able to restructure guys. They're going to cut guys. They know how to draft. They know how to get undrafted guys. And Hard Knocks will also attract people that will want to come towards the end of their careers and take a little less. And again, no tax state, that also helps. But now this time they have a chance to win. I think you guys are selling way too much FUD on the cap. I think their cap problems come 2 more years from now when they have to pay Tua. When Tua's salary kicks in, not his first year, which won't be next year or the year after. It's 3 years from now when his salary kicks in, the big salary, and then that's when problems start. I think they can work around the next 2 years. I think you guys are lighting a fire that isn't there, actually. Quite honestly.
Well, first of all, it's going to be interesting to see how they use the tags. For example, do they tag Christian Wilkins this year for next? And then, it's not fake news to say that re-signing your center, right guard, and right tackle is going to be an easy task. That's not fake news.
I didn't say
free agents. Well, they're all free agents at the same time. So,
right. And Agba won't be here. X won't be here. Those salaries replace those salaries. You know what I'm saying? So there'll be guys that will not be here. Christian Wilkins, we still don't know if he'll be back or not yet because we have to see how the rest of the season finishes. But he is on his way to earning a nice salary because he's on a nice pace now that he's never been on. Although he's not playing as well against the run, but he is being more of a pass rusher.
He's on pace for a career high 10 sacks. And Wilkins is not a dumb guy. He understands what 10 sacks will mean for him in free agency. It means that number will get driven up a little bit closer to some of the D tackles who not only create pressure, but also get sacks.
Yeah. But I think there are salaries that won't be in the mix that will kind of open things up. And then there are things that they can do to kind of loosen things up. I don't think they're going to have real issues for a couple of more years. I think you guys are sending out next year is not even a problem. It's so easy to work around the stuff for next year. It's a couple of years down the line, I think, is where it gets ugly. But overall, the vibe of around Phillips, the guys after we're talking about, supporting him, all that kind of stuff. Mike McDaniel, when he gets hit in the shoulder or kicked in the shoulder and then hit in the groin, and that was a funny line. It's like, I got a twofer, my D hurts and I can't do anything about it. I gotta tell you, he didn't flinch, bro. As painful as it obviously is, I gotta give him mad props how he handled that.
Yeah, I don't think I couldn't expect any coach to be like fall down to the ground and squirm around in pain.
Oh, but damn, at least some kind of reaction. Like there was, like he stayed calm and cool, dude. I gotta give him credit there. But what he said, it was just so funny. Like typical Mike McDaniel. I mean, who did not laugh at that line? That was just freaking awesome.
After the interceptions, and this does not surprise us, we saw Mike McDaniel say, "Don't sweat it. Don't worry about it. Don't," and obviously that's Mike's approach. And that's the right approach, especially for Tua. The corrections happen in the meeting room. The corrections happen away from the cameras. And you see, conversely, Bill O'Brien and Bill Belichick, for example, emotionally destroying Mac Jones, who's not a great quarterback, but is not as bad as he has become. Part of that is a lack of confidence because he's been broken down.
Yeah, but I'm not happy that Tua is not fixing this issue. It's gone on already a little too long. I don't mind if it happens for a week or two, maybe in 3. It happens but it's like a 6-week thing now that he has been too loosey-goosey with the ball, and he I don't know if he's getting a little too cocky, that he's just throwing things that he shouldn't. Things that were obvious, like one of the Jets interceptions that he threw. It's like, yo, dude, you don't have the kind of arm to do that. Your throw is Tourney.
I am proud of you. I am proud of you for saying that.
There was because he has to throw it.
They were both on out. They're both on outs. The first one was a hitch. And the guy had every chance to read it.
Yeah, he threw. He should know that by the time he made that decision, it was too late to make that throw. Okay. And he should not make that throw. Just like the one to Waddle in between 3 freaking guys. Like, and I know that he does it sometimes, that he'll drop it into people in between 2, 3, 4 guys. I've seen him do it. But if you're in a funk and you continue to do, well, then at the moment, bro, stay away from it. And so that's the one knock I have on him lately here, is that he is turning over the ball too much.
Well, here comes the Washington defense.
You get away with it.
They're terrible, right? Because they've given up more yards than any team in the NFL.
And they have no pass rush.
They have turmoil. They traded away good players, gave away good players. And they give up lots of yards per play. So, you're going to see aggressiveness.
You don't want to do that against Baltimore. You don't want to do that against Buffalo. You don't want to do that against Dallas, and you don't want to do that in the playoffs because
they might play it a little differently depending on the opponent. But you don't want to take away, Darrell Bevell, according to the Hard Knocks video, told Tua keep shooting at halftime. Keep shooting. And you have to have that. You have to have that mindset. You can't go too far one way or the other. You can't play scared and you can't be overly aggressive. Tua, to his credit, and you saw him sitting in his locker stall at halftime, very calm, very cool. Doesn't get flustered. That is a good trait for a quarterback. He is he's a calm, cool, and collected assassin.
Yeah, no, I know all that about him. That's why I've never wavered on how great he can be as a passer. I know he can do all of that. It's just lately, Marino used to do this too. Any elite quarterback, they get into a funk where they're forcing stuff at times. And they're trying a little too hard. And I think that's what he's doing. Although what I said to Safid, I'll tell you, I think he's reaching a boiling point for himself now because he's been a little bit more talkative about it, a little bit more emotional about it, that he's beaten himself up a little bit more in public in front of you guys on the interceptions. And I think that's really important for him to do that because, if you want to get to the Super Bowl and win it, to me, the missing ingredient right now in the Dolphins, it's not defense anymore. It's not your offense. It's your turnovers. You eliminate the interceptions and the fumbles, and my God, you might be unstoppable.
Yeah, he always takes responsibility. And, Raheem Mostert, who is having one of the best seasons for any running back in the NFL, kind of under the radar, I'm assuming he's also a free agent. So all these guys are going to have to, so how much do you pay this guy? How much do you pay this guy? And I know he wants to stay and maybe he will take a little less, but he needs to have that ball security too. We've seen the ball get loose a little bit from Raheem. So
Tyreek lost the game by himself with that fumble against Kansas City, all by his lonesome. He lost that fumble and the beautiful bomb that Tua dropped to him you were already in points right there. If he catches that ball, which he should have, you were already in field goal range. You know what I'm saying?
The Eagles guy, A.J. Brown, they said it wasn't a fumble. That play is not too dissimilar from the Tyreek play. So the officiating is just wildly inconsistent. It's unfortunate. I mean, it's not, unique necessarily to the NFL. We see it in baseball and hockey as well. But it was nice to see Jalen Waddle have 8 targets and 8 catches. I talk about this in the Tape Don't Lie. In the previous 2 games, he only hauled in 50% of his target attempts. Sometimes there's drops, sometimes there's little alligator arms, and we love Jalen Waddle. But nice to see him hold on to the football and have a really strong game. I felt he was a little underutilized in recent weeks.
All right, help me out with these 2 issues with the Dolphins. Let's talk about the first one, which I'm a little surprised. I guess I'm incredibly wrong here on this. I thought they easily would be able to develop a third receiver. I thought they had enough guys that somebody, especially Craycraft, and I know he was injured, now he's back, but Berrios I thought would be a good slot. Claypool I know got injured. Cedric has shown us something. To me, that's kind of been part of the turnovers because you have to force it to the top 2 guys so much. There isn't another guy because your tight end isn't nearly as active. So how important or how desperately does Miami need to actually develop a more reliable third option so Tua has another third option on a consistent basis? So he doesn't have to force it to the 2 other guys, and maybe you can avoid some turnovers. Are you a little shocked like I am that a third guy really hasn't taken hold of that job?
I think the third option should be Raheem Mostert and or Devon Achane when healthy. whether it's out of the backfield or on the field as a slot. When we briefly saw both of them recently, I think the Dolphins opened the game with Mostert in the backfield and Achane in the slot, or vice versa. You can use them both on the field at the same time. I think it's more important that the Dolphins make sure that and Tua make sure that he doesn't necessarily force everything to Tyreek to try to get him 2,000 yards, because he's the most dangerous offensive weapon in the NFL, and to make sure that Waddle gets his. I'm less concerned about the Thanksgiving leftovers. Braxton Berrios is like, the stuffing or the sweet potatoes, the cranberry sauce, maybe Cedric Wilson. They're sort of the side dishes. They're complementary. They're not the primary Thanksgiving go-to options, which would, of course, be turkey. And what else? Turkey's the number one most important Thanksgiving item. And then what's number two?
Gravy. Gravy.
Yeah, all right. So we'll say Waddle's the gravy to
right. Yes.
Tyreek's turkey. Yeah.
Yes.
But everything else is kind of like extra, cranberry sauce, pecan pie, Achane's kind of like the pecan pie, right? Because, he's great when he's available. He just hasn't been available enough.
Yeah. And I think, to their credit, they've been very patient, but obviously, the kid wasn't ready when they brought him back, unfortunately, and he got dinged up again. Hopefully he'll come back in the next go around and stay healthy. The other question is, and I don't know if, because I watch all the press conferences, I don't know if you guys have asked him this directly. Why does Mike McDaniel hate to run on 3rd and 4th and 1? Why? What is it? You're actually one of the best running teams in the NFL. And at this stage, you would now surprise defenses if you ran on 3rd and 4th and 1, because all you do is ever pass on 3rd and 4th and 1.
Yeah, I mean, the research shows that, passing is as effective in general as rushing. The Dolphins don't necessarily have that pure power back. Maybe if Chris Brooks was available, you'd say, okay, let's get Chris Brooks in there. Obviously, they don't necessarily want to give the ball to Ingold because he doesn't touch it that much, and so there's the chance that he could cough it up. But yeah, I mean, obviously, and also the Dolphins are so often in shotgun, right? We get mad if they go shotgun 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. So not a lot of under center. There's been some snapping issues. I'm sure there's a lot of things at play here. But yeah, obviously we'd like to see, Mostert hasn't had the best ball security. So do you want to pitch it to him on a toss sweep? You know what I mean? There's a lot of things at play here. And I'm thinking that Mike's thinking Tua to Tyreek turnaround for a 2-yard gain should be 90% plus. Should be. It hasn't been. So, I'm sure he's considering mixing in some more runs. But do you go on a center, right? Are you okay with 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, Mostert handoff from shotgun? You all right with that?
No, I'm not, actually.
So maybe they don't do a lot of under center, right? It's mostly shotgun.
I'd like it under center more than anything else. But what I'd like to do is just see a little bit more run more often on 3rd and 4th and 1. And that stupid screen doesn't end up working because you can't block it. You can't ever block it in front of the guy. And so you end up screwing up the damn play. So it's just, although Saffold had a funny one. So maybe, because I said maybe they go Rocky on us, right? Because Rocky, go southpaw on him. No, I'm going to hold it on. I mean, he waits till the 12th round to go southpaw on Apollo. So maybe now in the playoffs, all of a sudden, that's Mike is just screwing with all of us, passing on 3rd and 4th. And then in the playoffs, he'll just run on 3rd and 4th and 1s. And then we're like, oh, wait a minute. He just does. He was keeping us off balance the whole year. I don't know, man.
Quarterback sneak not being available is, unfortunate, because obviously his former teammate Jalen Hurts, ironically, is the best quarterback sneaker in NFL history. Him and Tom Brady.
He 600 pounds. Yeah.
Well, Tom Brady was also a great quarterback sneaker, and I don't think he squatted 600 pounds.
He's 6'4". You use Mahomes, and he blows out his ankle. You use Tua, and he's going to get hurt.
I know. No, I know. I'm not advocating for the quarterback sneak.
But
not advocating for it.
Not with him.
Unfortunate. I know.
You got to know what you have, right? And you're not doing it with Drew Brees. You're not doing it with him. You can do it with Russell, with Wilson, because he's obviously a little bit more stout. But, at this point, he's so important to your existence that you just can't put him in those kind of risks.
Mike White quarterback sneak statistics would be interesting if someone out there wants to look it up and tweet it at me.
Okay.
Obviously, he's not Jacoby Brissett. All right, Florida successfully used Jacoby Brissett because he was a massive dude.
Right.
Mike White is not a massive dude, but I am curious if anyone out there has Mike, and I can look it up later, but if someone has it, Mike White rushes on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1.
Yeah.
Let me know his success rate.
In that situation, you know what I mean? That's the thing. It's but
not
listen,
just with the Dolphins, your career.
Yeah, and just like Tua's done a marvelous job of playing smart and not taking on hits, you also have to be smart as a team and not put them in those kind of positions too, at the same time. So I don't have a problem with that. I just think your guys up front, and Joe, this is the first time you've covered a Dolphins team that could field 5 guys, and now they also have backups, and they have a marvelous coaching staff that can develop players, dude. That's like ridiculous. I
wrote in the tape don't lie that Butch Berry deserves NFL Position Coach of the Year consideration. Now, I don't actually know if that award exists, but if not, we can just make it up and give it to him on Twitter.
Yep. I have no problem with that because he has done a marvelous job, overall. Can we now say, Joe, that if this coaching staff was here from day one, we would have never had issues with Jackson and Eichenberg? The problems with Jackson and Eichenberg.
Their developmental prospects, even coming out of the draft, especially Jackson, was considered a developmental prospect. Someone who was very young, someone who needed to get stronger, someone who had some, health things to work through. So I think, I was talking to Austin and Kendall Lamb about Jawan James, because I feel like Austin Jackson at this point has sort of reached the Jawan James peak level. You know what I mean? And Jawan, there was that big thing. Do we pay him? Do we not pay him? They let him walk. And of course, there'll be a decision at some point here with Austin.
He's better.
How much do we pay him? Interesting. Better than Jawan James ever was. Very interesting.
Yes.
I thought Jawan was very solid.
He was solid. Yeah. I remember the guy I wanted that year was Morgan Moses, not him. And I thought Morgan actually had a better career than Jawan James. But
the injuries took him out at the end.
I think Austin Jackson's problem and Eichenberg's problem was they didn't have these guys. First 2 years, they didn't have any coaching. And then last year, both guys were injured. And so they didn't really get to work with them. I think they would have been completely different players by now.
The scheme is better too. It was a different scheme.
That's what I'm saying.
Scheme. You're being asked to block massive, powerful dudes.
Everything is the offense, the scheme, everything matters because it all jives. It all complements each other. And in the first 2 years, they didn't have that structure with their offensive staff. Their offensive line coach wasn't necessarily gelling with the offensive, coordinator or the quarterback's coach and all that. That was a mess, dude. Here, everybody's in sync, and that's where you got to love it, bro. And that's why I think the environment, those guys would have never played as bad as they looked under the tutelage of these gentlemen here. I think they would have had a much better start to their careers. And here's the thing.
Hopefully Connor Williams and Austin Jackson look at the situation that they're in and say, you know what? Good team, good quarterback, good head coach, good position coach, good place to live, taxes, facilities, all the things we talk about, chance to win, and they accept a reasonable offer. That's my hope. Yeah. Both good dudes, by the way. So that's the thing. They're like they're not bad. Not a lot of offensive linemen are bad in the locker room, but
they could end up with
those are good team guys.
They could end up with a nice bargain with Eichenberg because you can't necessarily ask for a ton of money.
He's not a starter, though. He's at this point, he's a good guard center backup.
And maybe he turns into a starter under these guys. And maybe I think Chris Greer gets one of those 2-year specials that he does with Eichenberg. And then Eichenberg, if he turns into a hell of a player, like kind of the Ogba thing, you end up getting like a bargain for 2 years because he turns into a good player for you overall. Here's the one I have for you on the way out. How do you handle Jaelan Phillips? Because he didn't completely turn the corner. He hasn't completely put together a full season of 12 sacks. And so now you've got an Achilles injury. He probably won't be healthy till this time next year. And he won't be himself for the rest of that season next year because the man's coming.
We don't know. Cam Wake was great the next year. So, it's possible.
But okay, but then you're getting into the contract stuff. So you're at a decision that you don't even know if you can pay him. It might be a tag thing now is what it is for him to hold off another year to see if he can really play, and then you give him the contract. It's a really twisted dynamic that Miami is in because he may not be himself next year in order for you to judge him for the future. And it's not fair to him and it's not fair to you. But I got to tell you something. I don't want to be that front office having to make that decision. Because
he's under contract for 24, and they have a 50-year option for 25.
That's probably what you have to do.
Because, like Wilkins, I don't think Jaelan and the Dolphins are probably going to be totally fine with the 50-year option.
Right.
And then and go from there.
They have to be because, unfortunately, the Dolphins will not really know if he's completely back next year until the following season. That then he has a whole off season of being healthy and not rehabbing like he is this whole off season. You know what I mean? It's a really difficult situation. I feel bad for him, man, because it looked like he was really going to turn the corner this year, man. What a shame. What a shame. That's a rough one. What do you got going on the Palm Beach Post?
Yeah, we're headed out to Dolphins camp in a little bit here. We'll see if Jason Pierre-Paul is available to the Dolphins media. Be interesting to see how many reps he gets the rest of the season compared to Emmanuel Ogbah, who obviously has a few sacks but hasn't been utilized hardly at all, as this coaches clearly feel he doesn't fit the scheme very well and that he's not that explosive. But I have to imagine Ogbah is more explosive at this point of his career than Jason Pierre-Paul. Maybe similar, I don't know. Looking forward to watching and see how he plays. Obviously, I think Van Ginkel will lead the three in snaps. So we know that as Mike McDaniel said on Hard Knocks, if you're not careful, you'll get Van Ginked. Something like that anyway.
And you expect Good to be the guy that get the more linebacker play then, right? That's what I think. But what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, he's a special teamer. And so, yes, maybe he'll get a few more snaps. We'll see if Jason Pierre-Paul is ready to play this weekend. I would think so. Why not? Go rush the passer when you're out there on third down.
All right. Follow him on Twitter at Shad Joe. And more importantly, subscribe to the Palm Beach Post. Joe, as always, thank you, my friend. Appreciate you.
See you, bud.
You got it. There you go. The great Joe Shad and Essential Moving Experts. We love Sean Williams, Brooke, all the great people out there. You give them a ring. Listen, long distance moving services, home moving services, office relocation. They can help you in so many ways. Sean and the folks are just absolutely awesome. 386-213-4054. Flat rates, no surprise charges. This business is loaded with people that just give you ballpark figures. How the hell is that going to – nobody trusts you to give them the lower end of the ballpark figure. No, man, that's why Sean and the folks, they give you a flat rate, and that's what they do it for, to move you from one state to another, from one side of the country to another, from within the city, within the county, whatever it is you're doing. And they can even store your goods on the house for the first month. So maybe that house isn't ready yet, or the new office building, or whatever it is. They can store your stuff up to 1 month for free. Now, if you need it longer, you can negotiate a price for longer storage, but they can help you out, man. Call Sean Williams. Great people. A big-time Dolphins fan. 386-213-4054. Essential Moving Experts.
You You've been listening to the Essential Moving Experts Miami Dolphins Exchange with Joe Shad. When you're looking for local, home, long moving services or office relocation, call Essential Moving Experts at 305-602-8369. Flat rates and no surprise charges. EssentialMovingExperts.com. Call 305-602-8369. Miami Dolphins fans, follow Big O Radio Show on all platforms to keep up with your favorite NFL team.
All right. Cristo Mako, I think is how it's pronounced. Thank you, sir, for the love on the super chat. And he says, thank you for exposing me to Bitcoin. Did my research, and now I'm a proud owner of 1.5 Bitcoin. Wow. Damn. That's pretty good, dude. I'm dying to get a 1 Bitcoin. Good for you, bro. Nice job. And 1 Ethereum. Rolled my 401k to a coin IRA. You're a smart man. I eliminated my 401k too. It was moving, but it was moving at a snail's pace that wasn't going to do shit for me, wasn't going to do shit for my wife, wasn't going to really, help us. And so you have figured it out. You did your homework. You're one of the smart ones, my brother. Christo, God bless you, brother. Good luck to you, and things are going to go very well for you, my friend. Very well. Do not stop buying Bitcoin. Do not stop buying Ethereum. True Fin Fan says, my eyes got watery watching Hard Knocks yesterday when Phillips cried out. Why? Yeah, I know. Yeah, man. Yeah, because you work so hard, dude. The Dolphins have $4.7 million in cap space. I'm not worried. It's the cap space stuff is overrated right now for the Dolphins. They'll have an issue, but it'll be 3 years from now, not when they're saying next year. Next year they'll be fine. They can restructure, move things around. It's 2 years from now when Tua's salary kicks in. That's when it becomes challenging. In fact, Matt Verderame, who's coming up, right? He knows exactly what I'm talking about because they've had to be creative, having to pay Mahomes and Chris Jones and stuff. They had to be creative with their tackles and stuff like that. They've done that themselves too. You know what I mean? That's part of the game. But I think the media it's not so much that they're misleading you as much. I just think a lot of them aren't realizing it. And so they're making the mistake themselves. They're overreacting to something that can be managed for the next year or two. Why? Because next year Tua plays on his 5th year salary. And then the year after that, he plays on his 1st year salary. And his 1st year salary is lowered drastically because that's what they do to all big time contracts. So it'll make it manageable. It's his 2nd year of his salary that becomes crippling from there on out. And that's just the way it's going to be. So I think you have this season and 2 more seasons, and then you will have real serious cap issues. Okay. Then it becomes a juggling, and that's where you're tested in drafting, in undrafted free agents, in regular free agency, street free agency, and in trades. And then the other thing is, like Kansas City, where Matt, follows his team, or Philadelphia or San Francisco, you now become a sexy destination because you're a winning franchise. And so now people will want to come and take a little less money. And in our place, we have a no state tax here. So then that's also going to add a little bit. That was always the attraction here. Sun and no state tax, right? Now you add winning, that will be another element that will help Miami to build a winner. And that's what helps the Miami Heat here in town. People will take less to be part of the Miami Heat. The Dolphins have never been that franchise for decades. But when they used to be that franchise, money wasn't a thing. Okay. That's how ridiculous it was. When Miami was actually like a really good franchise, money wasn't the thing. Now money's the thing, but if you add winning on top of it, then you go. So that salary cap stuff is overblown for next year and the year after. All right, let's do it. Give me 30 seconds. Matt Verderam will join us. We'll go around the NFL.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed. They're breaking into my house! Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV.
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house! Get out of the house!
Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
The viewpoint statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. When it comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
This is the man, the myth, the legend. How you feeling, baby? You feeling good?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. You agree? Because you were listening there. Because people are saying, oh, the Dolphins, some of the writers look at, the Dolphins are going to have cap issues next year. And I don't believe that. I think they're going to be able to weed out some guys and salaries. And they don't pay Tua for 2 more years, like real money for 2 more years. So I think they're going to buy themselves some time. But the key is street free agency, undrafted free agents, trades. And then what you have in Kansas City, a sexy destination. And then all of a sudden, some players will take a little less at the back end of their careers to kind of help you out too. So a lot of elements change once you become a winning franchise, and that helps you out in building it.
Yeah. I think that they are probably done in terms of going out and making huge additions to the team in the offseason. I think that, outside of the draft, I think he's done. If you look at their cap situation next year, they're way over the cap for next year. So they're going to have to move guys around. Ogba's going to get cut. They'll save like $14 million.
X will get cut. X will get cut.
Jerome Baker, they cut in. They save like $10 million, right?
Cut
so
off.
they'll get under the cap. They'll do that. I don't think they have cap issues. I think they're just to a point now where like going out and getting Jalen Ramsey and paying him a fortune, like that is probably done. Now it's like if you're going to build, you're going to build the way most contenders have to build, which is through the draft.
Yeah, exactly. And they've done a good job of finding street free agents that are undrafted to the team, like Zach Sealer and Kader Kohu, shit like that. Chris Brooks, the running back, actually, I think is become a player. And now when they get him back here from injury, dude, he's a rookie, an undrafted rookie running back. Listen to this. They trust blocking. That's some shit. Because running backs, rookies, they trust you running. They don't trust you blocking. Like they got to see a lot of that before they even trust you. For you to be running, you first got to block. That kind of shit. This kid, they have him on blocking assignments all the time, and he's pancaking people. So, it's like they know how to find undrafted guys. And I think that's where this thing has kind of changed, that will help you build, that will help you overcome some losses, that you can find guys off the street that will end up becoming players for you. I think that's also important for a front office. Let's get to some of the issues here. First of all, have you watched any Hard Knocks at all?
I have not, no.
Okay, so I can't ask you about yesterday's Hard Knocks was incredibly emotional because of the whole Jaelan Phillips thing.
I heard about that, but I did not see it.
Yeah, it was good. By the way, you have to watch it because the Mike McDaniel scene is one of the funniest scenes you will ever, player comes, an opposing player runs off the field into the sidelines and runs into him, where he kicks him in the shoulder and elbows him in the nuts. And you just have to see his reaction. I mean, it's effing priceless, dude. It is just funny. You gotta see it. And what I do think, by the way, again, you haven't seen it, so you can't comment on it. But I think this is going to become you know how last time it was a complete joke for the Dolphins? Joe Philbin, Jeff Ireland telling Peter King, well, we've got 4s, 5s, and 6s. We got to go find 1, 2s, and 3s, talking about his receivers. Yeah. The general manager is telling Peter King, well, we've got 4, 5s, and 6s. We need to go find 1, 2s, and 3s. You know, that kind of shit. And Vontae Davis, I got to call my grandma. And Chad Johnson getting cut because he smacked his girlfriend or something like that. You know, it was a mess. I think now it's actually a recruiting tool, because I think people are going to see the franchise. They're going to see Mike McDaniel. And I think a lot of players are going to say, I want to play for that dude. That's what I think. You know, when you see it, you need to, you tell us.
I think that Miami is always the destination because, as you mentioned earlier, there's no state income tax, and Miami's a great place to live. I mean, of any NFL city I've ever been to, I enjoy going to Miami more than any other city. Yeah. I love going. Look, I mean, you could argue other places. That's fine. In New Orleans,
San Diego beats our weather, but I'll take
team anymore.
Huh? Right.
So
they don't. That was the only place that used to beat our weather was San Diego. I'll still take our town over San Diego, but the weather in San Diego is Jesus Christ. It's our weather without humidity.
Yeah, right. No, I mean New Orleans is a really fun town, and there's other. I mean, it depends who you are too. I mean, if you're a big city guy, then there's New York, right? And there are other places, of course, but Miami has a combination of the financial side of it, plus the weather and all the things you can do down in Miami. I mean, there's always you're not going to be a free agent and not consider Miami. Now you may end up going somewhere else just because either the fit for you, or maybe you're married and maybe your wife wants to live close to her family. I mean, there's a million things that fans never consider
we had a lineman. We lost out to a lineman that his wife didn't want to live here, and they went to Kansas City. If I remember correctly, this was in the Wanstead years. This was it was
a long time ago.
This was 17 years ago, 15 years ago. If anybody remembers, could it be an Erik?
Oh my God, I don't know. I'd have to look. I'm trying to think of the lineman that Chiefs had back then.
I want to say he came from the Bears, and he was a free agent, and then he didn't want to play his wife didn't want him here in Miami. Which
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. I'm not sure who it would be, but yeah,
I think it was Kansas City. Somebody help me out there on that one.
But it's look, the point is, Miami's always going to be a place where free agents want to go. I mean, that's especially when the team's good. So it really is just, at that point, personal preference. You always have guys who want to go back home, or their wife wants to live closer to home, or maybe they just, whatever. Maybe it's just a better fit for them on the team because they feel like they're going to get more playing time somewhere else. But Miami as a city is always going to be somewhere that people want to go.
What'd you think of David Tepper yesterday, bro?
It's not great.
I feel bad for Panthers fans, basically.
Well, if you've ever been a fan of a team that has an owner that you got a problem for a long time, it's a crap feeling. I'm a Knicks fan. Okay. I am very well aware of that feeling. And I, for the longest time, most of my life was an A's fan. And literally the owner drove me to the point that I don't even care about the team anymore. So I get it. I feel very bad for Panthers fans. Like, I think Tepper, frankly, a lot like James Dolan for the Knicks, I think he wants to win and he'll spend the money to win, but he's so involved all the time that he precludes himself from winning. So the problem a lot of these guys have when they become owners, and some grow out of it and some don't, is they obviously are very, very successful in business elsewhere. And so they then think that that immediately is going to translate to them being very successful as NFL businessmen. The NFL is not being great in real estate, okay? And it's not being great, to a guy like Robert Kraft, to his credit, like running a macaroni and cheese empire. Like, it's not. The NFL is a place where if you're an owner, you hire people that know football and you get out of the way. That's it. Like, you don't get involved to the extent Tepper does. And now, like, look, the bottom line is, I don't care how frustrated he is with Frank Reich. You fired him after 11 games. Anybody who's up for the job next year, who you want to hire, is going to sit there and think to themselves, like, what the hell gives me the confidence I'm not going to get fired after 11 games? Why would I go here? It's the same reason the Browns couldn't get a coach forever, for years on end, because Haslam would fire him after 1 year. So you're like, well, who the hell would go there if you have any other option? Now, somebody, of course, will take the job because there's 32 of these in the world. And so somebody's going to say, well, hell, I'll take a chance. But, like, let's just say Ben Johnson of the Lions, who everybody in the world is going to want when there's an opening this year, okay? And Tepper's certainly among them. Like, if you're Ben Johnson, why would you go there? Why would you take that job? I'll give you something that's interesting. The Commanders have been that team forever, right? The team that everybody's like, oh, my God, what? The Commanders are actually a pretty interesting job right now because they have no ownership. It's Washington, D.C. You've got an owner who's been successful in the NBA, successful in the NHL. You got an owner who, that's a good job now. That's a job that, like, you actually would love to take that job. But for 25 years, you'd be like, oh, my God, I don't want to go anywhere near that job. Tepper has to stop meddling. He's got to get out of being so damn involved. And if he does that, he'll be okay. But if he doesn't learn his lesson, it's going to be a huge problem.
Dude, he mishandled that press conference yesterday. I mean, like, oh, we're not going to talk about that now. Well, this is where you're supposed to talk about it, bro. And then that whole thing, he can't pronounce Frank Reich.
It's not
like,
good. It's not good.
Like, yo, dude, like, what's up with you? And then the slip up with the whole unanimous thing when it really wasn't unanimous.
No.
And probably the guy you fired is the guy that didn't want Bryce Young. He probably wanted CJ. So and it's what you said. When you have an owner that meddles, whether it's James Dolan, whether it's Jerry Jones or whatever, Stephen Ross and Bruce Beal trying to meddle, setting up, Tom Brady, like, or going in the middle of the night to go see John Harbaugh while you have Tony Sperano in place. Like, this is the stupid shit that people do, and you got to learn to get out of the way. And right now, it looks like Ross, after he cost his team a first and a third rounder, looks like he finally got out of the way and let the football people take over. Because if not, it's pretty consistent, dude. Most of these meddlers never really win.
Well, Ross got out of the way because Ross didn't have a choice, and they started to win games. And so then it was like, I know that's people. I don't know how many people know about this, care about this. George Steinbrenner was a train wreck of an owner the entire 80s into the 90s. The reason the Yankees finally got good is he literally got suspended from the sport and he couldn't meddle anymore. And then Gene Michael built up that franchise. And then by the time Steinbrenner got back, he basically couldn't do anything because they were winning. Right. I mean, I think Ross basically got to a point where it was like, by the time he got back from everything with the first round pick, they were winning. So it's like, we're not going to do anything. And this all goes back to, let's just call it what it is. If they drafted CJ Stroud, everything's different. He might be a meddling pain in the rear end, but they have CJ Stroud. Like, they're winning games. Like, it wouldn't matter. Jerry Jones is always a meddling guy, right? And as much as he hates that word, he's always meddled. But they had Jimmy Johnson. They won a ton of football games. Like, you can survive it. I mean, Dolan owned them when Riley was there. They won games. Like, when Riley left, and it was like, oh, now we got a problem. Jimmy Johnson left. Cowboys have never been any good since. Like, if CJ Stroud went there and was lighting it up and they were winning that horrendous division, nobody would care. The problem is they didn't take CJ Stroud. they took Bryce Young, and Bryce Young has been somewhere between middling and awful in almost every game this year. And so that, and I think it's a huge part of this is Tepper's sitting there looking at how badly they're struggling on offense and how badly Young has played. And then you look to Houston, straddles you might throw for 5,000 yards. And so now it's like, oh my God, I mean, what are we going to do? Even though Tepper wanted Young, it's like, well, you're not making my guy look good. Well, because he's not as good. Like, that's reality, you know? I mean, it is what it is. But the Panthers, they got a lot of problems because not only do they have the quarterback you're not throw it right now, they don't even have their pick next year, which might be the number 1 overall pick in the draft. And it's bad. It's bad.
When we look at the situation with Belichick, how do you think that ends? And is it really the Chargers? I mean, the Chargers are stupid enough to do it. Is Washington stupid enough to do it? And does he get traded to these places? What do you think happens here? Because there's no way they bring him back to New England. I just think that I think the Kraft-Belichick relationship has been on the rocks for a long time, ever since the whole stuff with Garoppolo happened. I think they've been on the rocks for a long time, and I think this is the out that the owner has needed and he's going to get. But how does this end? Because to me, it makes zero sense for any franchise to bring the old man on board, because I think the game has passed him by, quite frankly.
So he's not going to go back to New England. I mean, that's ending one way or the other. I disagree in the sense that I think he can still coach. I think the problem is that roster is the worst. I think it's the worst roster in the league, and that's on him. That's on him because so wherever he goes, to me, like he cannot be in charge of personnel. Period. End of story. He just cannot be.
That's not going to happen.
Well, then I wouldn't hire him. But I would tell him, look, I'd hire him as a coach in a heartbeat, especially if I felt like I was close. Like at this point with his age, I'm not hiring him to like oversee a rebuild. I don't believe for 2 seconds he's going to the Chargers. I just don't for a million reasons. The Chargers don't pay anybody. Okay. Yeah. He's not going there on a discount. He's Bill Belichick. Like his entire life, he's been on the East Coast. Now he's going to go all the way out to Los Angeles. Like, do you picture him strolling down Rodeo Drive in Los Angeles? Like, so that's number 2. Number 3, just stuff you hear about the Chargers, just like stuff that you hear around, like in the league, like different things, like little things that they don't do for their organization that other teams do. I cannot imagine that. Washington is the team I think that he would go to. I think he'd go there because he's from Maryland, Annapolis, the whole deal. Harris would pay him. And, look, that team, you could argue that team's not that far away from being a playoff team. They're far away from being a Super Bowl team. But, like, it depends on your opinion of Howell. I think Howell at this point is interesting. I don't have an opinion of, like, oh, he's definitely a guy or he's not. I think he's just kind of interesting. That team, though, like, they've got some players on it. I think Belichick could – like, in the NFC, you're telling me Belichick couldn't make that team a playoff team? Like, I think he probably could. Now, I don't think they'll win the ring, but I think of all the places, that's the one I look at. Now, does he get traded there? I think if you're the Pats, like, are you going to jam him up so much that you force that? I don't know, but I wouldn't rule it out either. Like, it depends because he's signed through next year. So my guess is that he wouldn't be traded, but if New England really wanted to play hardball, they could do it.
Unless they fire him, right?
Correct. Right. If you fire, then he's fired. But I mean, they might, if they know he's going to go somewhere else, they could say, okay, well, listen, you can go somewhere else, but we want a pick.
Boy, that's some crazy stuff, dude. I just don't know how somebody's going to keep that guy, and he's going to want power. To me, that just makes zero sense. All right, what do you got going on Sports Illustrated, my man, so folks can check you out?
I've got all the typical weekly stuff, quarterback rankings, matchup to watch. I've got MVP stock watch, rookie stock watch. I am in the midst of finishing up the massive project, which is keeping me busy. In fact, literally right now, Thurman Thomas is texting me. So,
bro, he's a good dude.
He's a great dude. He's a great dude, and he's helping me. So I
Dude,
appreciate him.
I got to meet him and cover him a little bit when he was a Dolphin.
Miami.
And he is a good dude, bro. Good dude. Killed us.
Great guy. He's great. Yeah, you killed everything.
God, I have nightmares of that guy. Oh shit, I have nightmares of Thurman Thomas. But I got to say, he was a nice guy when I met him. I liked him. He started a big old fight. Bucks and Dolphins. They were practicing. We were up in Tampa. We were at the Wide World of Disney. And they had a linebacker, a former linebacker, kind of a knucklehead. Shocker. He took a dirty shot on Thurman in the middle of a practice. And, dude, it was all-out brawl. People got pissed and all that. I'm trying to remember the linebacker's name that came out of the U and went to Tampa. Wasn't a great linebacker. He was half decent. But, yeah, it was like a dirty, dirty shot on his part. And so ask Thurman Thomas about that. When you talk about him, tell me, I was just talking to a Miami reporter. He says covering Tampa and Miami practices in preseason, somebody took a dirty shot on you and all hell broke loose, and he'll tell you about it.
I'll ask him
you if he remembers it. All right, good stuff. Follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderam, and more importantly, catch his work there at Sports Illustrated. Matt, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up next week.
Take care.
You got it. There you go. The great Matt Verderam getting it done. You know who gets it done also? Welt and Rayom. We love talking about Welt and Rayom. Jeff and Dan, they know how to get it done. Bankruptcy, condo damage, criminal damage, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury, homeowner property damage. And listen, I know it's not hurricane season anymore, although technically it is for one more day, right, to the 30th. But really, we're out of it already. But it doesn't matter because we get pummeled with strong showers nowadays. As you all know, there's a hell of a lot more humidity in the air now. And now the showers are becoming even more wicked, and people get water damage all the time. Condos, townhouses, homes, whatever. Sometimes pipe breaks, and it goes into your apartment, your condo, your townhouse, and it's from the neighbor. Call Welton Rayom, man. Find out if you have a case. The consultation's completely free. So the conversation's free. You can find out if you have a case. Jeff will walk you through it. 954-966-4646. Better yet, save it on that cell phone because you never know when you're going to need it. 954-966-4646. Offices in Hollywood, and they've got another office in the Keys. So make sure you reach out to Welt and Rayom. Right, all right. Don't forget, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show. Cash App or Venmo. Let me see what we got. Let's see. What we got going on in Bitcoin hovering at 37,805, right around the 38 range. You see how it goes up a little bit and it finds a floor, and then it goes up again and it finds a floor. It's a beautiful thing. It's only going to continue to go up. I love it. True fan. Guys, stop worrying about who we lose. The front office is on point. When our window for a Super Bowl closes, we will still be good. Relax on all of that. We can't sign bullshit. Trust career. I agree with all of that, True fan, and I don't know why we're worried about something for next year anyway. That's the part that I don't understand. And that's all the sensationalism and all the bullshit that goes on with all of this. Live in the moment, dude. We haven't won in decades. We haven't had a hell of a franchise in decades. We have a hell of a franchise right now. I know they got to prove what I'm saying, but they can do it now. So why am I going to worry about something that may happen 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 4 years from now, 5 years from now? I don't know. These guys might be fantastic at moving guys in and out and finding people in the draft and all of that, which they are, actually. Come on, man. We got linemen coming off the street. Robert Jones wasn't drafted, and he helps out, right? Cotton helps out, and he wasn't drafted. Kendall Lamb wasn't drafted. I mean, it's all this stuff. Kohu wasn't drafted. Chris Brooks wasn't drafted. We could just go on and on. Zach Sealer wasn't drafted. They find guys. They find people that help you out. Why am I going to worry about what may not happen next year, the year after, or 4 years from now? It's the dumbest thing in the world. I get what the writers are doing. They got to sell papers. They got to get clicks and views. So they got to dramatize all this bullshit and sensationalism. But if you're a fan, what are you worried about 2024-25 season? I'm worried about the 23-24 season right now. I'm living in the moment where my favorite team is 8-3, and they got a shit ton of winnable games coming up, where they can have 11 wins by the time they get to the rest of the games that are left, like the Baltimore Ravens, the Dallas Cowboys, and the Buffalo Bills. Why am I going to bog myself down with all of this? And stuff that may not even happen. None of the writers are assuring you that for sure, it's hell and it's over for them. No, they're just throwing that FUD out there to get you going, dude. Just like I tell you, don't live in the past, right? Don't we do that all the time? Stop thinking that this is the Dolphins of the past. You know what I would also tell you? Stop thinking about stupid shit that you can't control in the future, that you don't even know it's going to happen or not. You have no idea. And you're going to worry about that stuff now? It's just, whatever. No, it wasn't Eric Kumaro. So, just use any of the running backs under center as quarterback sneaks. Yes, you're giving away the play, but it will work 99% of the time. Hey, man, just start running on 3rd and short and 4th and short, please. That's all I'm asking. Just start doing some of that. Let's see. Big O, it could have been Chester, McLaughlin, or Kendall Bell. No. Oh, God.
Hey, also,
yes,
somebody put Olin Kreutz in the.
That's it. I think it was Olin Kreutz. Yes, it was.
Darius in the chat put Olin Kreutz earlier. I tried to text you, but I couldn't get your attention.
Okay. Yes, Olin Kreutz, Kansas City player, chose over Miami. Yes, I think it was Olin Kreutz. That's it. You nailed it. Nice job by Darius. Way to go, baby. You the man, Darius. Much love, brother. Thank you. That was a good one. Olin Kreutz came out of Chicago, and I was right. I remembered the whole thing. It was Chicago, and then he and his people didn't, his wife and whatever didn't want to play here, so they went to Kansas City. And I believe Miami offered him slightly more money than Kansas City. I think that's also the story. In fact, Sean, just look up that Miami offered Kreutz more money than Kansas City and see if that comes up. Because I think that might even come up. I think that might be part of the story, if I remember correctly. But yeah, dude didn't want to play here, man. And they didn't like Miami. That's fine. Whatever. It is what it is. Listen, our team wasn't the greatest team at that time. We had Wanstead. It's not like it is now. Put it that way. I love Wanstead, the person. He's a good dude overall. It's just as a head coach, he just was not the answer. He was a coordinator. Hell of a coordinator, just not a guy that I would put as a head coach. Way too conservative for me. By the way, our Canes coach reminds me a lot of Dave Wanstead, and it scares me. Okay? Scares the shit out of me that Mario Cristobal doesn't have an edge to him when it comes to his coaching. He has it as a person. I'm sure of that. Guarantee you that. But wow, as a coach, X's and O's, there's no edge there, boy. That is as what's it called? As conservative as it gets. It was funny seeing Thurman Thomas sign with Miami out of spite to the Bills. Too bad he was out of his prime. Oh, yeah, he was way out of his prime at that point. Nice guy, man. Really nice guy. Really classy guy. Soft-spoken dude. Just handled himself like a true pro. We hate Thurman Thomas as Dolphin fans. What he did to us, my God. Very few players in the history of Dolphin history have ever done more damage to Miami than Thurman Thomas. Okay, but then, he became a Dolphin, and what can I tell you? Nice guy. Yes, sir.
All right, so the Olin Kreutz thing was going around the same time we traded for Ricky Williams.
Okay.
It was the same year. But he went back to the Bears from wherever he was for less money. The Dolphins offered him a 6-year deal, and he went back to the Bears. The free agent re-signed with the Bears for less money, and then we ended up signing Leon Searcy.
Right, that's what it
we had
was.
already traded for Ricky Williams.
Right, Kansas City wanted him, we wanted him, and then we offered him more money, and then he went back to the Bears because he didn't want to play here. How screwed up is that, dude? Yeah. But hey, man, I get our franchise. That's the difference now. They're going to be sexy now. They're going to be sexy, and people are going to want to play here. Not just, it's no state tax and sunshine and I can vacation in South Beach. And no. Now they can actually win. Let's get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. Why don't we? Alan Blanco and the great people at 3A Graphics. They're in Hialeah. Of your company, your business, your club, your school, you need some uniforms, hats, shirts, whatever it is. You're having some kind of a picnic, an outing, you're traveling as a group and you all want to get some shirts, call 3A Graphics in Hialeah. Call Alan Blanco, 786-618-1443. Custom printing and embroidery. Bucks defeat the Heat last night, 131-124. Heat dropped to 10-8. They will take on the Pacers on Thursday. Pacers are playing some basketball, boy. Toronto beats the Panthers in a shootout, 2-1 in the shootout. Stolars had 31 saves. Tomorrow, they're at Montreal, 7:00 face-off. Miami, unfortunately, loses to Kentucky in college basketball, 95-73. They got manhandled. Miami drops to 5-1 on the season. O'Meara had 20 points, by the way, and Poplar had 19. And on Sunday, the Dolphins will visit the Commanders. They're favored by 9.5. The over and under is 50 points. That's your 3A Graphics sports calendar. All right. Now, last night, I want to get into you guys know I've called Bam over the years a super role player. Fantastic player. Want him on my team. But I've always said that he lacks the one thing that can make him a real star, and that's imposing your offensive will on teams. And this year, I find him doing it. And he's consistently doing it. And last night, he did it. It wasn't successful, but he did it. And what I mean by that, and I'm really liking the Bam I'm seeing now. The Bam I'm seeing now wants to be a star. Not wants to help everybody else be better players or stars. That's why I call him a super role player, because he was too busy worried about everything else, which I get it. He's fantastic at everything, but he has the skill set to be fantastic offensively. Now, last night, he wasn't. While he scored 31 points on 27 shots, that's not productive. And it was 13 of 27, 31 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, only 2 turnovers, considering how much he handled the ball. That was fantastic. Awesome. Played a hell of a game. The only thing that he needs to tweak in his game, okay, we all talk about the obvious. Hey, can he become a three-point shooter? Okay, he's not that right now, and he's not going to develop into that right now, okay? Clearly, because he's not even taking those shots. He's not even starting to do that. So there's no inkling that you're going to become a three-point shooter right now, correct? We can all settle on that. No, even though I think he has the ability to do it, still not doing it. Okay. Here's where I also, and you all out there, could be wrong about this. Bam isn't an efficient two-point shooter. And why isn't Bam an efficient two-point shooter? Because everything's mid-range. So you are long, athletic, explosive, can put the ball on the floor. Why aren't you shooting closer to the basket? Why aren't you going more to the hole and drawing more fouls? And by the way, the other kind of three-point play, why don't you work more on your post game? Why don't you become more dominant around the paint? Because you're not a dominant 15-foot shooter. There are too many of these nights where you're under 500, just under. And for a big man, you're supposed to be closer to 60%. Why? Because if you refuse to be a three-point shooter and you want to be a two-point shooter, then play closer to the basket. Then increase your shooting percentage by being closer to the basket. And by the way, he still misses too many bunnies also. So if I'm Bam, since you're not working on a three-point shot, and that's obvious because you don't shoot them, Jimmy Butler's working on it. You're not. Okay, so let's get closer to the basket. Let's draw more fouls. Let's put more people in foul problems. You're athletic. You're explosive. You can dribble. Most people your size will not be able to stay with you. Let's work it. That's the one thing that stood out to me while I'm watching that game. And they did a fabulous job of staying in that game till the end when they pulled away. I mean, I can't complain. It was a hell of a performance without Jimmy and Tyler. But the one thing that I would say about Bam, you need to be more efficient. If you want to be a volume shooter, then you need to be more efficient. And how do you do that? Let's shoot less mid-range. Let's get in the paint. Give yourself a chance to score more points, put more offense up, possibly give Miami a chance to win an extra game or two. That's my story, and I'm sticking with it. Let's see. Morning, gents, ladies. Sean, Big O. Agree, Thomas was the most dominating back in our division. Thorn in our side for years and years. Great ball player. The true definition of ground pounder. Yep. Curious, Pierre-Paul will be in the rotation. I don't think this week, but eventually he'll be given something. What else? It's almost ridiculous as people worrying about Y10K or Y2K. Was there, you were talking? Is that what you're talking about? You're right, though. If we draft well and find a few undrafted guys, you'll be perfectly fine. Well, that's what they do every year now. This is a good front office, man. It's a really good front office, guys. I really like what I'm seeing from them. What else do we have? Hard Knocks. I have not talked about Hard Knocks. And Hard Knocks last night was one of the best episodes I have ever seen. Not because it's my Miami Dolphins and I love my Miami Dolphins. Has nothing to do with that. It was emotional. It was real. And it was the Dolphins. So it was cool. The scene where Mike McDaniel gets hit by the opposing player on the sidelines as he's falling, and McDaniel gets kicked in the shoulder and hit in the nuts, and he talks about it right there in the middle of the game, and the way he handled it, it was just freaking hilarious. It was awesome. They covered the MetLife takeover. And that was very cool to see everybody, especially the guys from MetLife, doing their thing and talking about the whole takeover, and seeing some of the fans on the show. I thought that was really, really cool. Overall, I love the episode. I hated the back end of it because emotionally it got to me, like all of us, obviously, because Jaelan Phillips is a really likable dude, right? That's one thing. Like, his personality is just one of those that you right away gravitate to, and you root for Jaelan Phillips because he looks like a good dude overall. And I know the poor guy's dealt with a bunch of injuries, and he's dealt with a couple of injuries this year. Now this one is devastating. But they got the whole picture of everything, and watching the reality of it, I think it's important for us. Seriously, because we look at it as fans. We look at it as fantasy football players. We don't necessarily look at it from the human being's perspective. And to watch Jaelan Phillips' pain, and I'm not talking about the literal pain from the action of it happening. It's what has happened to him now to derail his career, to now he no longer is part of his team at this moment. He has to now start rehabbing and everything he's worked for. And then he had that earlier injury. He had to come back from that. Then the young man's playing his ass off. Maybe this is the season we were all waiting for, right? And then this happens. And I think it's important for us to see how, because we just think, oh, well, he's getting paid money. He'll be fine. You think Jaelan Phillips is thinking about his salary? He doesn't give a shit about the salary right now. He's a gladiator. These guys want to perform on center stage. This is what they love to do. And he won't be able to do that for a whole year now. And then you watch the teammates, and you see Chubb specifically. And Chubb has dealt with several injuries himself, so he can relate to that. There was one moment that I wish we would have seen more of it, but Marino was shown kind of consoling him and walking away. And I wonder what Marino was eventually, how'd that conversation go? Because Marino lived it. And at least Marino can definitely relate to him, in that sense. And that's one of the things that I loved about, the vibe of all of that. I hated watching it happen, but I love to watch the support that's going on. And I think it's really important because as you see in the end of the show, he's back right away in the facility with that little cart that they use when you have a messed up leg, and you can, keep it there elevated, and you can, wheel yourself around and all that. I don't know what that little cart is called, but his attitude about it was a great attitude already. And that's part of being embraced right away. Part of having the and then he said it, that when he got to watch it on film and all that it got to him too, that he got to notice how much people cared about him. And I see it from all of you out there, the fan base, all the well wishes. Why? Because he's freaking likable, dude. It's hard not to like Jaelan Phillips. Got a great attitude. Hard not to root for Jaelan Phillips. You know what I mean? So the episode yesterday was powerful in so many ways, and powerful for the team in the sense that people get to see what the Miami Dolphins are all about. And I think that's a good thing. I think a lot of agents are going to watch this. I don't think every player watches it. I think there'll be a lot of players that they probably don't watch any of the Hard Knocks, pretty much. Don't really care. But I think a lot of agents are going to watch this because they need to do their own homework. And they may not have a player on the Dolphins, or they have a player on the Dolphins, or they might have a player on the Dolphins down the line, and they want to see how it is. There's the importance of this show to me is priceless in so many ways, because we get to see a little closer and a better look at your favorite team. Everybody around the country gets to see what the Dolphins all are about. Players and agents get to see what the Dolphins are all about, and the vibes are all fantastic. And it's not a general manager that doesn't know what he's doing. It's not a head coach that doesn't know what he's doing. It's not about players getting in trouble and doing stupid things and embarrassing the franchise and all that kind of stuff. None of that is going on. Everything that you've watched the first 2 weeks has been incredibly professional. And that's one of the things that I walked away from all of that, especially yesterday. The emotional side of it, the professional way that they support each other, all of that was just awesome. It was awesome. And if you haven't seen it, you need to watch it. By the way, Woody Johnson still wearing that necklace. I saw that. And I know McDaniel was effing around and having fun with it and telling Stephen Ross, well, hey, I need one of those if, we'll put it as a contract incentive. Joking around. And I get it that he's having fun and making the other owner feel good. But I got to tell you, Woody Johnson, you're a 70-year-old man. Dude, you're embarrassing. Okay? All right? That bling stuff, that crazy, loud-ass stuff, that's for young people, bro. That's not for old farts. That's not for people like me. That's not for Woody Johnson. He looks like a complete horse's ass with that thing hanging on his neck. That was another thing that I saw on the Hard Knocks there. What do you got there, Sean?
I wanted to say the one part that got me was, because again, you knew what the outcome was going to be, but before the game when they're stretching, he walks by Jaelan and he goes, "Today you become a household name."
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, just because you knew what was happening later on. It's just like, that was where, like, you feel it, I guess, at that point. Because
saying
it becomes, I guess it becomes realer to us watching it, being with that, Hard Knocks and watching it now that, wow. Just the highs to the lows of lows.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that was an emotionally charged episode yesterday. That shit got me going. That was like, wow. But I really enjoyed it in the end. I hated that happened to Jaelan, obviously. I hate that it clouds the whole future with him because you don't know how everything's going to work out and respond. I hate it all about that. But the way everything was handled, it couldn't have been more perfect. Like the 72 season. That's the way I look at it. Let's see. Sean, our truth is back, baby. I'm doing the ruffle truffle at work, bro. There you go, Sean. They're doing the ruffle truffle. I don't know what that means. Bro, this team gotta do it for JP and themselves. Great production by HBO. Really loving the show, says Emilio. Let's see. Troy. Oh, was there any indication Phillips is going to use the same doctor as Rodgers in the same rehab? I have no idea. Well, he already had the surgery yesterday, this morning, and it was successful. I have no idea, dude. No idea. I don't know who he's using. That's all private stuff. Dr. Uribe in Baptist Sports Medicine is the best. I'm sure he will be considered for surgery. I believe. Maybe he's the one that did it this morning. I don't know. I mean, who wouldn't want John Uribe working on them? You know, dude's a beast. Big O, you also provide invaluable Dolphin info to those of us Dolphin fans in Canada who cannot get it anywhere up here. Big thanks. Good sir. Thank you, sir. Appreciate you. We try, my brother. We try. And we probably provide you more Dolphin insight than any other media outlet out there. Period. So thank you, sir, for noticing. I appreciate you. Ja'Cory Brown has decided to play in the bowl game. I'm a little shocked. I got to tell you. I guess he feels like it's worth the gamble, but with these coaches, I can't say that these coaches put every player in positions to be successful. So that's where I thought that was kind of, I know if you're a Canes fan, you don't really care about Ja'Cory Brown. You just care about the Canes. So you want him to play because it's the best option you have. You know what I'm saying? Better than a walk-on. But I think he made a mistake there. I think Ja'Cory has to look out more for himself than the Canes. Because the Canes aren't really looking out for him. It's not like they want him around. He's probably going to transfer. But he must not have a lot of options. And he must think that this is going to create some for him. That's what that decision tells me. That whoever he has representing him told him, yeah, we don't have a lot of people wanting your services. So maybe it's better you play and try to display those services. And then that might open up options. But good for the Canes, because at least they got a guy. That's for sure. Let's get through a little music history and some music news, too, that it's kind of a little twisted. Let's put it that way. First of all, let's go in music history. Today on November 29th in 1986, Bon Jovi went to number 1 on the singles charts with You Give Love a Bad Name. In 2001, Beatle great George Harrison passed away from lung cancer at the age of 58. In 2003, Bono, Peter Gabriel, and others performed in Cape Town, South Africa as part of the Nelson Mandela's 46664 campaign to raise AIDS awareness in Africa. A little rough here on the voice. In 82, Metallica played their first headlining show. The gig marked the live debut of their hit song, Whiplash. In 92, U2's first TV special, U2's Zoo TV Outside Broadcast, aired on Fox. And in 2000, U2 drummer Larry Mullen Jr. came to the rescue of a motorcyclist who had been in an accident. Larry saw the wreckage, stopped to call for help, and waited for the ambulance to arrive. All right. How about that? Larry Sabin. All right, let's go with birthdays today. First of all, Howie Mandel is 68. Russell Wilson is 35. Chadwick Boseman. We lost him in 2020. He was born on this date in 1976. Rest in peace, man. Gone way too young. Jesus. Stephon Diggs is 30. Anna Faris is 47. Lauren German, actress, is 45. Don Cheadle, actor, 59. Dane Jackson, football player, 27. David Lambert, actor, 30. Ryan Giggs, soccer player, is 50. Who else? Julius Randle, basketball player, is 29. Vin Scully was born on this date in 1927. We lost him last year in 2022. And those are the folks who were either born or celebrated birthdays on this date. There you go. If any of you are 90210 fans, I don't know if you know this, but I just read this and, man, feel terrible for her. Shannon Doherty was diagnosed with stage 4 breast cancer back in 2019. She shared that her cancer has spread to her bones. She says, "I'm not done with living. I'm not done with loving." She's focused on moving forward, even with her battle more than 5 months after the 90210 star opened up about her cancer metastasizing to her brain. The 52-year-old is sharing another development, noting that it has spread to her bones. That is just, man. Can we figure out this thing called cancer, folks? It affects so many of us and our families. Every one of us has been affected by it. Man, prayers to her. Other music news, Andre 3000 has surpassed Tool for the longest Hot 100 hit of all time. Billboard reports his track, "I Swear I Really Wanted to Make a Rap Album, but This Is Literally the Way the Wind Blew Me This Time," charted at number 90 on the Hot 100 this week. It's the first song of his new instrumental album, New Blue Sun. It clocks in at 12 minutes and 20 seconds, longer than Tool's Fear Inoculum, which is 10 minutes and 21 seconds, and debuted back in 93 in 2019. Andre 3000's track notched 5.8 million streams over the past week. Andre 3000 and Tool are the first and second longest songs to appear on the Hot 100. The third, also charted in the past few years, was Taylor Swift's All Too Well, which clocked in 10 minutes and 13 seconds and debuted at number 1 when it was released in 2021. For the foreseeable future, it looks like the longest chart-topping hit. Following Swift, it's David Bowie's Black Star, fourth longest, peaked at number 78 in January of 2016, shortly before Bowie's death, and Harry Chapin's Better Place to Be, parts 1 and 2 at 9 minutes and 30 seconds is in the fifth spot. It peaked at 86 in 1976. So there you go. Andre 3000. Owning it, baby. Interesting. When I was hearing that, when I was reading that story, I kept thinking about Inagata Vita. Inagata Vita, from Iron Butterfly. I would figure Inagata Vita is like, that's a long-ass song. I would figure it climbed the charts. I guess maybe not that long, and maybe it didn't climb the charts that high. I don't know. All right. When sports and business collide, we like doing something called the KSDT CPA Sports Business Report. Mark Cuban, my daughter and my wife were devastated yesterday. Absolutely devastated. This is not the part of sports and business colliding, but it's still Mark Cuban. He is now leaving Shark Tank after the show's 16th season. And then on Tuesday, also Cuban announced he would be selling a majority stake in the Dallas Mavericks. The sale of the majority stake in the team is going to the Adelson family at a valuation of $3.5 billion. And Cuban gets to keep shares in the team and full control of basketball operations. Sheldon Adelson died in 21 at the age of 87, the founder of Las Vegas Sands. His family retains heavy influence in Las Vegas and the casino industry. What's interesting about the deal is Cuban will retain a large minority stake in the team and will remain in charge of basketball operations. He purchased the majority of the Mavericks from Ross Perot. We're going to get things done. Yeah. $285 million in 2000. Ross Perot. He's now running for president, so don't start with that shit. But anyway, it's just weird. I know they won the one title, and I know they're 11-6 right now, I think, something like that. They're playing well. Kyrie and Luka combined for 68 points the other night. But still, you made the trade for Kyrie, and then you gave him a long-term contract. And I don't care that it started off well. Nothing with Kyrie ends well. Okay? Just doesn't. I get the Cavs won the title, but that's more about LeBron James, not Kyrie Irving, than anything else. So I guess the people that bought it aren't necessarily paying attention. And maybe they think, oh, well, Cuban's been the face and it's good for him and all that. But I'm not sure that the basketball decisions have always been great ones there. Especially the Kyrie Irving one. Oh, my God. I don't know. I would have bought the team from him, but I don't know if I would have kept him in charge. Good for him, dude. I like Cuban, by the way. He's a likable dude. I don't watch Shark Tank, but my wife and daughter watch it religiously. So, you run into it while they're watching it. And sometimes I'll sit there and watch it for a couple of minutes. He's likable. I will say that. He's likable. But, man, what a deal. You get to sell the team and then you're still running it. That's pretty good. So, it's one hell of a deal by Cuban. Obviously, they can fire him anytime. That is your KSDT CPA Sports Business Report.
This has been the KSDT Sports Business Report. KSDT CPA is one of South Florida's largest and one of the country's fastest growing accounting firms. KSDT is recognized by Forbes as one of the top tax and accounting firms for 2022. KSDT CPA is a full service firm that also excels in crypto. Visit online at ksdtcpa.com or call 305-670-3370.
Mecca Film says, just got done watching Hard Knocks, and man, somebody was chopping onions in my room, I swear. Let's win for JP. Yeah. No, it's crap, man. It's crap. It just sucks to see that happen. And it was a hell of an episode, man. Great episode. If you're a Miami Dolphins fan, you need to watch that. You need to watch it because it'll suck because of the injury stuff, but you'll be proud of your team, I think, overall. And I think that's all, that's what matters, obviously. You'll be proud of the way the team handled it, the way McDaniel handled it, the way Jaelan Phillips is handling it, the way his teammates rallied around him, and then all the other stuff that went on. I loved it, man. I thought it was great. I think every Dolphin fan is going to feel emotional about it, but deep down inside, you're going to feel good about your franchise. We didn't do that last time. We were embarrassed. We felt like, my God, everybody sees what kind of a joke our team is. We're not getting any of that now. It's not even close. So it's cool. Really is. Andre 3000's new album is very relaxing. I have not heard it, so I don't know. Big O, I'm curious, where is music history? Does Rare Earths Get Ready stand for with just over 21 minutes? I don't know where it did in the rankings. That's the thing. Just like Inagata Davida, I don't know where it was in the rankings. And that's a long ass song too. So I don't have that answer. I'm sorry. Somebody else is going to have to do that that research. No, I don't think Ross Perot is alive. No, I think we lost him already. Big O, I heard Sean was in consideration to buy the Mavs with some of his billions. Yeah, but I heard Sean is holding out for a better team. So, it's one of those things. When you've got Stanley's money, the world is at your disposal. It's a beautiful thing. It really is. Having Sean Stanley money is just amazing. It's one of the great accomplishments in life. Do want to remind you folks, let's talk. Let's get in the shooting mood there, Sean, for me. There we go. Top Gun indoor range. I like it. Family atmosphere, latest in air quality and targeting systems. So if you live in Dade County, hell, they've got people coming from Broward because the place is just absolutely awesome. By the way, when it comes to archery, they're the only indoor public archery in Dade County. So if you're looking to practice a little archery, you can go there to Top Gun Indoor Range. And they've got mini leagues and mini tournaments on weekends. The gun range has 18 lanes, 25 yards each, longest indoor range in Dade County, folks. And for the ladies out there, listen, folks, guys, we got to be honest here. We got to get serious about this. The streets are not safe. Our ladies deserve some self-defense classes. Okay? And at Top Gun Indoor Range, they've got self-defense classes, basic pistol, concealed weapons courses. They also have it available in Spanish. Si hablas español, they do it also at Top Gun Indoor Range. They've got tactical nights, competitions with bowling pins, different types of targets. You're going to love it. And they've got memberships. The better the membership, well, then the better the benefits, right? You can get gun cleaning, even up to unlimited shooting. So call my friends at Top Gun Indoor Range. Tell them that Big O sent you. 305-306-7333. That's 305-306-7333 for Top Gun Indoor Range. And we will be broadcasting from there in about 2 weeks. Not next week, the week after. We should be there. Let's see. Every free agent this offseason wants to go to Miami and play for McDaniel. I would not be surprised if a lot of them do want to do that, to be quite honest. Let me see if we got any other breaking news. Remember, you can make a donation through Cash App or Venmo at Cash Big O Show. That is Cash Big O Show, Cash App or Venmo. And if your business wants to be a part of our platform, maybe you want us doing a live show at your place once a week, once a month, once a quarter, give us a ring, 786-754-4664. And remember, this platform, we are blessed. We reach people here in South Florida, all throughout Florida, all throughout the country, all throughout the world. So if your business is local, statewide, national, or international, we reach all levels. So please reach out to us, 786-754-4664. There you go. Jason Kelsey wants Bills Jaelan Phillips fined for trying to hurt Cam Jurgens. Okay. Hey, have we seen any fine for the guy pushing the Philly fan? The Bills player? I don't think I've seen anything on that. I'm actually shocked that we haven't heard anything on that. Let's see. What else do we have?
Hey,
Yes.
Gus just sent us in the on X. Ian Rappaport is reporting the Jets just opened the practice window for quarterback Aaron Rodgers.
I see it there. Bro, he makes them do whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. They hire his coaches, they'll sign players that he wants. Whatever it is, dude. I don't care, bro. I'm a Dolphins fan. But I would be ripping the Dolphins if this was the case. Ripping him for signing him. Ripping him for allowing him to run the franchise. Ripping him for making him waste money on Dalvin Cook. Ripping him for hanging around the young quarterback and kind of being a shadow. Ripping him for being pretty much, a distraction. And then you have nothing to gain here. Nothing. You have everything to lose by blowing out that Achilles again and ruining next year. There is nothing to gain. You're not going anywhere, dude. Your offense isn't good enough to win you anything, even with Aaron Rodgers. That offensive line is going to get them killed. Again, I don't care. I'm not a Panthers fan, but David Tepper is a disaster. I'm not a Jets fan, but that Aaron Rodgers situation is a disaster, and Woody Johnson is a freaking clown. I'm not a Knicks fan, but James Dolan is a loser. Not a Washington fan, and Snyder's a loser. I mean, you just see it. And you can tell that it's a bad situation. The Jets are going to be so screwed next year. And then they're going to be screwed with cap issues, too. They're going to lose good players because of this guy. but they get it. They deserve it because you were that stupid. Watson, Rodgers, or Brady. Brother, all three would have been a disaster for Miami. Wow. We finally got a break in all of this. Staying with Tua instead of those three clown situations. Now, you weren't going to win anything with any of those guys. It's crazy. Big O, Aaron Rodgers is coming back to practice for the Jets. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Jets feeling the pressure from NYC media, maybe. I think it's all pressure from Aaron Rodgers saying, no, I want to do this. And they can't basically stop him because they don't want to piss him off. Because he's their only hope for next year. They have no cap space. They can't do anything. They're tied to this guy. And then they've got players of their own that they have to re-sign. I mean, it's funny. It's absolutely funny, I got to say. Hilarious. Anyway, we are out of here. Yes, sir.
I had a question for you. Just because somebody posted this and I just looked at it again. Did you notice the play before Jaelan Phillips blows his Achilles? He pulls up his knee pad and kind of flexes his foot and shakes it around.
Yes, I saw that.
So okay. I
don't know if that's,
it's just odd. And then the next play is the as soon as he goes to rush in is when it pops. It's
right,
just,
it pops. Right. It just.
I've never had that injury, so I don't even know how it feels to even know. Do you get any sort of?
Well, it's a burning sensation.
I mean, like, is there a warning? Like, all of a sudden you can kind of, or does it just when it goes, it's going to go, right?
When it goes, it's going to go, and you'll feel it. But yeah, it's like somebody hit you right in the back, is what I'm told. It's like,
there's
like
no warning from it, right? It just pops, right? It's not like it just pops.
Yeah. No, sometimes there could be a warning if you don't get a complete tear, kind of a partial tear or a strain or something. That could be your warning right there before you do pop it. And who knows? Maybe he had a little stretch there at that moment, didn't think of it, and then he completely tore it after. Who knows? None of us will ever really know. And it could be, I don't know, go back and look at his practices. Is that something he does a lot? Shaking his legs around like that in between plays and all that? I don't know. I have to go back and look. It's just, don't know. I saw it. Other people have mentioned it. But again, it's just kind of, we're throwing that shit out there without any real, facts. Every New York sports host thinks he's crazy. Oh, you mean Rodgers? It's common sense. Any human being out there, this is the Ryan Tannehill thing all over again. I was killing Tannehill in that offseason for not getting the surgery. And then when he went right back out there on the field, he blew it out right away. And it was like, what'd you think was going to happen, you dumbass? You wasted the entire offseason, you freaking idiot. One of the stupidest moves I've ever seen in my life from Ryan Tannehill was that. It was almost as dumb as his rookie year where he didn't even know the division and where the cities of the teams were or something. You remember that? Kind of embarrassing. Anyway. But yeah. Like, did you think your ligament was going to repair magically, you idiot? Yeah, so this is what that reminds me of. It reminds me that it lacks total common sense. But I'm a Dolphins fan. So if you want to give me more material to laugh at the Jets, bring it on, baby. Bring it on. Okay? Can you compare Rodgers and Phillips' injury equally? Meaning if one can come back so soon, can the other? Nobody's come back yet, Emilio. He hasn't come back from the injury yet. Okay? He's attempting to come back from the injury. He thinks he can come back from the injury, but that has not happened yet. So until it happens, we can't say that. And for Phillips, it ain't going to happen this year. It's next year, and take your time with him because you want Phillips to come back fully healthy so he has a chance to come back to try to be himself. If you hurry it up and make it worse, you may never get the guy back again. You know what I'm saying? So I would use a lot more patience. Big O, for Dolphins merch, what site do you recommend for a beanie of Dolphins? Go to caneswear.com. See if they have any beanies there. And use my code BIGO10, and you'll get 10% off. Okay? And if you don't find it at Caneswear, then go to NFL.com. But at caneswear.com or in person, you can use our code BIGO10, and you will get 10% off. Okay? We thank Joe Shad, Matt Verderam, and Safed Dean. Of course, Sean Stanley, the man that masters this entire platform every single day. We thank all of you out there. If you send a Cash App or Venmo, Cash Big O Show, thank you. If you send in a Super Chat, we thank you also. Tomorrow, it's afternoon, baby. It's Thursday. We're at Hialeah Park. We'll catch you there tomorrow afternoon at 3 o'clock. Same time, same place, same bat channel.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.